Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, and it is the Demetra K Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always do better, right? And so today we are going to be talking about the gun buyback programs that y'all know who they are, tend to have in all of our neighborhoods, if you will. And I see some of y'all comments already saying that it does not work. So we're going to get into it. But also, I'd like to say a big giant hello and welcome to YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. You all are not just viewers. You are co-hosts. You are participants, because we don't like for y'all to just watch us talk. We like to include you as well. And so we will read most of your questions, comments, or concerns. Lately, it's been a lot of comments, so we're not able to get to them all, which is why I'm going to ask up front. Let Donovan and you guys can make comments and stuff, but if it's something that y'all want us to address, wait till we do our commentary, if you will, so that we can read them and not get so far behind. And so I also like to say a big giant thank you to Marcus Guyton for everything he does behind the scenes on Facebook to make the show go further. Who do we have on here so far? We got Moni, Above Beyond Forever, Sean, Moreno Valley News First. How you doing? Craig and Beverly and Easy E. What's going on with you? Did I miss anybody? And Lawrence Lilly, how are you? So Donovan, what do you have to say before we get started?
It's Sunday. That means when it's Sunday, it's Demetra K. Welcome to the show, you guys. Did you guys see that UFC fight? That Amanda Nunes was amazing. The Venezuelan vixen, that girl is tough as nails. Pena, she is tough as nails. I got to give it to you. That was one of the best fights I had seen in a long time. Some of these ladies out here are really putting it down when it comes to entertaining in the sports media. But do us a favor, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and hit that thing. Even become a member if you want to get notified when Demetra puts up these great videos. But this is an important topic, because it seems to me anybody that would turn in their guns for a voucher or a food stamp is a damn fool. So let's get into it.
Hello, William. How are you? All right. And so this past weekend, Houston, that's where I am. Houston had what they call, I guess, their gun buyback program. And it was sponsored by One Safe Houston, if that's I got the name right. So I actually want to show you all a video of it, and then I'll come right back.
There are way too many guns. And as we put more police on the street, they are being confronted by guns. And there are too many guns in the hands of that population.
And those participating say they hope to be a part of the solution.
This is a program that will work, but it takes an effort of the community to actually come out and participate.
But not everyone in line thinks it's an effective program to reduce crime.
It's not the answer at all. It's just it's a good opportunity to make a few dollars.
But the question is, what is HPD going to be doing with all of these guns? We're told once they are bought back, they're going to be taken to a storage facility. Well, they'll be checked to see if they were either reported stolen or used in a crime. But if that gun checks out, we're told they will all be destroyed.
It's amazing how people can talk about everything they think that causes crime, but they don't want to talk about the number of guns.
I wish they would do it maybe once every 6 months. That would give other people chances to get rid of their weapons that they don't want. Because some may not want to do it now, but in 6 months they may want to.
All right, so as you saw there, that was some of Houston's dignitaries. That was Rodney Ellis. Now, he also went on to say that after what happened in Uvalde, we had to do something. We had to do a gun buyback program. Well, let me ask y'all, ladies and gentlemen, who predominantly lives in Uvalde? Well, we'll answer that question in just a second. And so this gun buyback program that they did, it said they got 845 guns, and they gave out about $100,000 in gift cards. Okay, so keep that in mind, $100,000 in gift cards. And it was held at Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. I got to show you guys a picture. You're going to be like, wow, is my phone ringing? Okay, and so let me show y'all this really quick. All right, so I'm thinking about the whole gun argument, right? You know, like if we get all these guns, most of the guns from the bad guys off the streets, then okay, the ideology is it's supposed to curtail crime. Well, this happened, I think, Friday night, the day before the buyback. And so this says argument over girlfriend leads to shooting at North Houston gas station, police say. So in this particular case, I guess a guy was flirting with another man's girlfriend and the guys got into it. And then the guy that was flirting with the girlfriend pulled out a gun and he shoots the boyfriend. The boyfriend is in critical condition, did not die. And so when I think about these gun buyback programs and things, I'm like, well, how do you out legislate or legislate ignorance, right? Because that's pretty ignorant to shoot a guy because he didn't like you flirting with this girlfriend, right? And so as I'm going through the news articles, I see a whole bunch of senseless shootings. There was a pastor shot here a couple of weeks ago, and it sounded like it was a road rage incident where he got into it with a guy who happened to be an Uber driver, and the Uber driver shoots him. They caught him and all of that. All right, so remember when I told you that Rodney Ellis was like, oh, after Uvalde, you know, we should we should do this gun buyback thing because we can't have another school shooting, which I agree shouldn't have school shootings. But Uvalde is made up of mostly what? White people, right? Now, the person that did the shooting in Uvalde, I don't know if he was Hispanic or what. Sounds like he was Hispanic. But then when I hear him talk about Uvalde, I'm like, well, why didn't they go have a gun buyback program in Uvalde? Because they tend to always have the gun buyback programs in our neighborhoods. Now, Wheeler Baptist or Avenue Baptist Church is in the 3rd Ward, from what I understand, and some people like to say it's the hood. It's located near 2 major universities, TSU and U of H. And it doesn't sound like it's a great neighborhood. Okay. Now, thinking about that of Buffalo, right? Look where the shooter that came from Buffalo, Peyton Gendron, or he came to Buffalo, he's from Conklin, New York. Now, look what it says. It's the majority of white people. Now, y'all know why I brought up Uvalde and Conklin? Because that's where the shooters came from. So my question is, why aren't you guys doing these gun buyback programs in these white neighborhoods where most of the time they do these giant mass shootings and they go with AR-15s and all these other ARs and blah, 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 and they go do major damage. They got the heavy arsenal in their neighborhood, so why isn't there this big, giant push to go alleviate them and their children of their guns? Okay, so let's get back to Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. Do y'all see this church? This is a giant, huge monstrosity of a church that's in the middle of what they say the hood in the 3rd Ward, a big giant church. And so when I looked at this church, I'm like, well, why can't the church solve the problem of crimes? Because in order, come on, y'all, let's just think, we don't even have to be economists or rocket scientists or any of those type of things. Do y'all think it costs $50 a month to run that church? Hell to the no. It costs a lot of money to run that church. And so why is there more money going into the church and not going outside of the church to alleviate the neighborhoods of all of these ills, right? Because we know that where there's less money, there tends to be more crime. And where is there less money right now? It's less money all over the United States, but when America catches a cold, Black people catch a flu. So we know that Black people are really catching the flu economically, right? Because we got inflation, but jobs aren't going up as far as wages. People aren't necessarily getting paid more money. The inflation is going up. And so that trickles down to the neighborhood, where the neighborhood is already struggling. And so when you don't have money, that means you don't have resources. And that means that people are, you know, maybe they ordinarily wouldn't, and maybe they would, I don't know, but they might go out there and commit some crimes, petty thefts and things like that to put bread on the table or make ends meet or whatever the case is. And then when you remove the parents from the household, maybe the mom and dad's got to work 2 and 3 jobs to keep the food on the table. So who's watching the children? So back to the $100,000 that they gave out to get your guns. What if they would have put that $100,000 back into the community? Because if you guys think about the tax credit that the parents were getting when the pandemic was going on, that stopped. And yes, it was only a couple $100, but that helped a lot of families. And so imagine if they would have just gave that money to the neighborhood, that would have helped people make ends meet or whatever the case is. Then They might necessarily when they needed a gun buyback program, but what a lot of y'all said in here in this comment section was spot on. Gun buyback programs do not work because how do you convince a person who is dead set on killing somebody? Because I don't care what you say, for the most part, murder is a firm decision. How do you convince them to not do that by giving them a $50 or $200, whatever it was, gift card? That doesn't convince them to do that. And then this is the trick bag here that they finally put in there. Turn in the guns. No questions asked, right? Isn't that what they said? But did y'all hear that tidbit? Well, first we need to make sure that it's not linked to a crime, and then we'll get rid of the gun. So it's like, you big dummy. If you turned in the gun that maybe didn't belong to you, if it had a body on it, you could be, answering for that body or whatever crime that gun was involved in. And so there is no such thing, as they say, as a free lunch. You're not going to get anything for free. There are strings attached to this thing, but we know that also election season is coming up. We're in election season, rather. You got the midterms and all that. So you got these politicians going out there and telling everybody what you want to hear. And y'all saw the old black lady, pull up, oh, I wish they would do this all the time. Well, they have done it all the time, and it is not working. Why don't you tell those politicians who show up to your neighborhood, why don't you funnel some money back into the neighborhood? And then most of those people probably go to Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. Why don't you tell the pastors there in this big, giant, glossy, glamorous church to put some of that money back into the neighborhood so that the crime will go down? And statistical facts say that 5 times, that when there's more money, there's less crimes. And when there's less money, there are more crimes. It's not rocket science. It's very simple. So before I get to you guys' comments, Donovan, what say you?
Man, you said a pretty much mouthful and brought receipts to back it up. Absolutely. As we know, when you live in a low area where there's high crime, it is ludicrous for you to give up your weapons, because what do they say? Only a good guy with a gun can stop a bad guy with a gun. So if in the Black community, which we are marginalized as it is, if we do not have any weapons to protect ourselves, then when the gas ovens are built and they want to round us up, how are we going to protect ourselves? That exact program happened in Nazi Germany in the 1930s. Look it up. They disarmed the Jewish community and made it illegal for them to have firearms. Thus, it was easy for them to round them up and put them in the ghettos. So here's another thing that you also got to remember about some of these guns that the police department confiscate or that you turn in. Now, Dimitri, you're from the Los Angeles area, Southern California. We have a gang problem within our sheriff's department, but I'm very sure all the police departments, right? A lot of those guns that they are finding, because notice whenever there's a police shooting, oh, he had a gun, he had a gun. A lot of those guns that they're finding are guns that were turned in, that were used as the gun that justified a homicide or shooting. And then some of the guns that they're using, they give to the gangsters to start your gentrification. Because remember, the guns aren't tracked. The guns aren't tracked once it's in the police custody. There are a lot of corrupt policemen, and that's where the gentrification comes out. Then if the guns aren't used for that, because ask yourself, when was the last time you saw a mass government bonfire or breakage of firearms? That doesn't happen. Now, I've been in the military for a long time. Those very guns are given to other countries and cartels to keep problems going within those countries. Guns have high value. Now, I have a few guns myself legally, and I'm going to tell you, those guns ain't cheap. So to give me a $100 gift card for a gun that I've never used, even though I keep it oiled and ready and all that other good stuff to go, I spent over $600, $700 for some of those guns. So it just doesn't make sense. So, we really got to think about what they're doing. And that's what really scares me about when they do it in our community. Because like you said, they only do it in our community. What they're doing to us is what they did in Nazi Germany. You disarm the citizenry, then you can't fight and protect yourself against your government. Notice January 6th. How many of you guys know that in the Washington, D.C. area, it is illegal to have any firearms on your person when you are in the nation's capital. How many of you guys know that? Isn't it funny that all of those insurrectionists had guns and stuff? And there was a black man that was recently charged, rightly so. He was charged 5 years. He's one of the longest people that have been charged. He was given 5 years for assaulting a police officer. But yet you had white people that had guns. And this ain't a racial thing. I'm just saying an adjective to describe the majority of the people that were insurrectionists, that had weapons and guns, and they didn't get nowhere near 5 years, even though they broke a federal law. Think about it.
Absolutely. So now I'm going to start answering you guys' questions. But lastly, I want to say, you guys know that white folks, they have gun conventions, right? They're in there buying up all the guns. But in our neighborhoods, they want us to give the guns back. So y'all put two and two together. White folks are having these big giant gun conventions, but in our neighborhoods, they want us to give them back. Why? Ask yourselves why. And the last point I want to make too is, well, who's going to disarm the police officers? I read about a case I guess happened here in Houston, where a guy had a knife and a police officer shot him. So it's like, that's not really fair, right? Don't y'all have other things y'all could do? You're taking a gun to a knife fight per se to say the guy was having some mental issues or whatever. So who's going to take their guns off the street? The guns that, you know, don't always do good policing work, if you will. So anyway, y'all, let's see who else is on here. I want to say hello to everybody. Then I will start taking your questions. So Moni, yes, this is the last day we get to say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday until next year. Fight for Black, how are you doing? And the Pioneer, how are you? Who else? Old School, how you doing? You say jobs and money will help kill crime in the Black community. We got to get back into trade, medical, and legal field. Yes, all of that. But we need those resources put into the neighborhoods. Yeah, I understand in the third ward, they have U of H, which is a big giant university, and TSU, which is a HBCU. But not everybody's going to go to college. What about, like you said, trade programs and other things that would help people be a little bit more upwardly mobile? Or how about bringing sustainable jobs to the neighborhood? We don't need no more Popeye's chicken, pawn shops, or any of those other things, those low-level paying jobs. We need jobs that are actually going to help people just work one job and be able to go home and take care of their family, right? And the only Pamela's way, how you doing? Says exactly, these church members should be ashamed of themselves. Damon, how you doing? It says Creflo Dollar syndrome, taking from the poor. Yeah, I mean, that church is in the third ward, and that's where they have the buyback program. And it's like, I know it costs a pretty penny to sustain that church. And C Love, how you doing? It says these people are sick. And let's see who else came on here. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom so I don't get behind. And if I didn't already, Craig, how you doing? It says, I said they put the guns back on the streets. We had a cop in Baltimore who gives guns to a group for drugs. Of course. Like, how else are they getting there, right? Like, we know that, right? But they want to pretend like, oh, we got to get these guns off the street. It's like, well, who's putting them on the street? Let's start right there. And Sweet Band, how you doing? And who else came on here? All right, so I'm going to start taking you all's questions. I'm at the bottom now. I just kind of want to get to the bottom so that we don't get too far behind. But yeah, I mean, so really just, taking it back to the church is like, come on. Y'all big giant, because, back in the day, the church was there to help solve the problems of the community. You could go to the pastor and, things like that. But now the church, and somebody was telling me, I think it was, I'm not mistaken, it was Al that was saying, somebody was saying that the churches are like the new bank in the Black communities, except for they don't allow you to make withdrawals. They only take deposits, right? Because the same thing, right? The churches, they collect all that money, but yet the neighborhood around it looks horrible and it is doing horrible. So it's like, what are you really there for? Other than to have a big glorious building, you have a nice choir, and you got like cosmetically everything looks great, but on the things that matter as far as the people that are coming to church, because a lot of people that go to church, let's keep it real, a lot of people that go to these big giant churches, they go home and live quiet lives of desperation once the church service is over. They're in there, hallelujah, praise the Lord, this, that, and the other. Okay, I'm going to sow a seed of faith, but then they go home and they maybe have no food and they don't know how they're going to keep the lights on and all that. And so the church needs to be held accountable too for the crime rate and things like that in the neighborhood. Not saying that they're causing it, but it's like, wow, you're collecting all that money and you're not pouring back generously into the neighborhood. How about giving Sister So-and-so and them, a stipend? Here, we know y'all underserved. Here's $200 or $300 extra a month to help you get by until you get on your feet. What about something like that?
Well, let me add to that real quick. And under the Trump administration gave a lot of money to the churches, not just the black churches, but the churches. Remember all those black pastors and stuff like that? And that money was supposed to go and help the black community. But do you know what a lot of those black pastors did with that money? They kept it. But Trump made it to where churches can operate like a nonprofit, and they can give money and they get federal stipends to help the community. But you kind of brought up something in regards to the bling bling pastor, and it made sense. You know how you just said, like, you had this opulent, beautiful church in the poor community and stuff. At least the bling bling pastor, his church looked like the community. It was run down and all this other stuff. And it was so big ups to him for keeping it real.
Yeah, absolutely. But the bling bling pastor sound like he might be, going to sing, which that's where he was at one point in time. But I didn't want to turn this on the church necessarily. But Thundy says in Houston, there's black neighborhoods that have over 20 churches, but not one bank or grocery store. And why aren't we seeing that as a problem, right? You got golly, what good is it if my soul is, getting, I guess, whatever, tuned up every Sunday, but yet I'm going home and I don't have anything to sustain me? Like, it's cute in theory to have all these churches. I think at some point in time, we're going to have to realize, just finally admit that a lot of these churches are just hustles, and they only hustle those that want to be hustled, right? But 20 churches in one neighborhood, that is ludicrous. You don't see that many churches in white neighborhoods, do you? They got one big giant one maybe that all the white people go to, and maybe a couple ones here and there, but they are not inundated with churches on every corner. And it's easy to say programming was these churches, was these churches do well. I'm sorry, I thought those were exclamation marks. Yeah, they do exceptionally well. And Al, you say Wheeler Avenue had enough money to move Frenchie's Chicken up the road so they can take over their spot and expand parking. So Frenchie's Chicken is a staple out here, I guess, in the South. And from what he's saying, they moved them down the road so that they would have more parking areas. So you think about it. And I guess Frenchie's is a low-key franchise, I guess. That takes money to ask a restaurant to move so that we can have more parking, right? So if you got money to ask a chicken shack to move, then don't you have money to help the people in the neighborhood? I mean, I'm just like, to me, I don't think it needs to really be that hard, but apparently it is. And I see a lot of you guys referencing the Democrats. And yes, that's the Democrats that's doing that to black people. Instead of saying, let's put this money back into the hands of the people, they try to skirt the issue, blame everything else. And they really chapped my hide when I heard that congressman, I guess that's what he is, talk about Uvalde, and that's why we need to get the guns off the street. It was like, well, take the ass to Uvalde and go up into those neighborhoods and get the guns up out of those neighborhoods where these white people living with all this arsenal. Go to their neighborhoods, but stop putting that on the backs of black people. But you know why they put it on the backs of black people? Because they need black people to vote for them. And that's their way of making them feel safe. Oh, well, we got all these guns off the street. Do you really think a criminal gave up his guns for real for $50?
Right. And let me ask you this logically. If I live in Houston or I live in California, how is me giving up my guns going to help any other community?
Well, exactly. I mean, if you're a criminal, you're not going to say, hey, you know what? They give it away, gift cards. Let me go turn this in. If you're a criminal, you holding on to it. Being a criminal, in a lot of cases, is a firm decision. I know there's some people out there, criminals by default, doing some things that they, to survive. But for the most part, these criminals ain't trying to give up their guns. And Sweetman says, yes, it's sad. Everyone is making money off the community, but the community. Yep. And Only Pamela's Way says, exactly. It's no problem for them. Church goers. It should be, though, right? And Donovan says the baby boomers have sold out the generations after them. If not so, why are we worse off now? Good point. And Tanya T, how you doing? Arson, how you doing? It says, hey guys, how are you too? Hope you had a nice week. I missed the beginning, but I get the idea here. Nothing new. Find new ways to keep you vulnerable. Laugh out loud at Donovan Saadiq, bling bling pastor. That's the name, the bling bling bishop in Brooklyn, New York, that got robbed of his 400 to $1 million worth of,
right?
Yeah. So what pick is, which
wait, and his wife has been crying every day, even though she's been on live every day praising the Lord since the robbery.
Yeah, some ain't right there. And Sweet Man, it says a lot of these mega churches, the people don't live in the community that go to the church. Okay. The Pioneer says maybe the following generation didn't fight hard enough to keep the benefits the baby boomers fought for. Laugh out loud, too busy making weed and partying. Well,
okay, but show me where the benefits that the baby boomers left. Like I said, how many times have I shown Black politicians in any of their policies that was specific to Black people? You're not going to find it because they don't do it. So if the politicians don't even have policy directly for Black people, and most of those politicians are what? Baby boomers. We're carrying them out in pine coffins.
Tanya says, get the race soldiers off the streets. Yeah, I mean, who gonna get their guns that, murder people wholesale? And Easy says, Donovan, don't forget all the faith-based initiative money received for votes, but nothing to clean up crime in the neighborhoods. Very good point. And let's see here. Tanya says, a lot of criminals are on the police force. Oof, you ain't lying. Mr. Pirate Brain, how you doing? And you say, peace, family. And Al says, when poor Black people want to get money, they don't give up their guns for gift cards. They go donate plasma. I mean, and that is very true. A lot of people do go donate plasma or, other means. But yeah, giving up your guns, I mean, come on. We know that guns are needed for protection. And so it's not the guns that are dangerous, it's the people, But I want to see these gun buyback programs in the white neighborhoods where, we've heard of countless cases of mass shooters who said, I got it from my mom. Or these guns were just in our house. We had a whole plethora of them. Why aren't you setting up shop in their neighborhoods? I mean, those are the questions that we should be asking when they say, okay, want to do these gun buyback programs in the hood? We should say, great. Now, when is the one in the white neighborhoods? When are y'all going to set up at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or Sprouts in their parking lot or, Joel Osteen's church? When are y'all going to set up at his church in the parking lot and have good old white folks with machine guns and Uzis and all this other stuff? When y'all going to have one over there? Those are the questions we really should be asking, right? And Craig says, why would I give up a $700 gun for a $50 gift card? I mean, come on.
Exactly. If you're a legitimate gun owner, you're not going to give up your gun. Especially thinking about that now. If you think about white people, that's fairly heirlooms for them. I know white buddies of mine that have guns that their parents had, great-grandparents had since the Civil War, even the Revolutionary War. And they keep them and they still work.
Exactly. And Mr. Pirate Brain says they are disarming us and we go along with them. Them folks aren't giving up any of their guns. Nah, they haven't done conventions. They just had one not too long ago here in Houston, the NRA, the gun convention or whatever it was. They had one. So it's like,
yeah.
Really?
And the funny thing is, all the legislation that they put out there to stop illegal gun transfers. But the funny thing is, because they know Black people we don't have gun conventions. You could go to a gun convention and get a gun that isn't even traced by the government. There's like a loophole at the gun convention thing, and they talk about that in politics. We got to close the gun convention loophole, but they never seem to do it.
Right. And sweet, I hope I said Sooty Ban, maybe I'm saying that wrong, but forgive me. Says no way. They are destroying those guns. They are more valuable for resale. Than to destroy them. No, absolutely. I mean, then they gonna only destroy them after they run a background check on the guns. But didn't y'all say it was gonna be no questions asked? Y'all said there was gonna be no questions asked, but now all of a sudden y'all gonna be doing these backgrounds and checking out the guns to make sure they good. It's like, I'm gonna keep mine. I mean, I'm just saying, if I was a criminal and I was maybe doing some things that weren't so good, I mean, it's like you lied, and I don't even know why anybody would believe them. Hey, Sunlight, how you doing? That's not feelings. You say looking for gun buyback from white supremacists across the country. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
and think about this. What if you do have an illegal gun and it was involved in some kind of homicide, they've got your name and information. So you're the person that they have to go with, right? So so basically a lot of innocent people could be charged with a crime that probably actually didn't even do it.
There's a whole lot of stickiness going on with that. And Damien says, Whitey ain't giving up their guns. Nope, they sure aren't. In fact, Not Feeling says Democrats been disarming, let's see. I've been disarming blacks for decades now. Yeah, we've been giving it to them. Brother Reggie, how you doing? Freddie B, what's going on with you? And Sunlight says, no one ever questions the cops or politicians on this publicly. No, they just go along with it. You know, everybody, woo, child, they having a gun buyback program. Oh, yes. It's like, but what does that mean exactly? Yeah. And again, think about it this way, too. Y'all don't think they sat in the war room, if you will, making a decision like, okay, y'all know the economy is bad and people need money. So they going to show up to turn their guns in for $50, $100, $200, however much it was. So yeah, of course they going to show up. But are you really solving the problem if you're not factoring all the things that are in play now? The economy is bad, inflation's high, you know, people are struggling. You're having a gun buyback program in the neighborhood where a lot of people are struggling. Let's keep it real. So don't try to say that, oh, well, these criminals just wanted to come and just give the guns up. No, he probably had a lot of people who needed that extra money. It was like, here, shit, I ain't using it. Let me get this card, right?
Right. So you can get some food rather than, you know, something that you need. And if you guys don't realize that the economy is bad right now, if you don't believe it, I know you see the high prices, and that's not inflation. That's greed. Inflation doesn't go up 1/3 of everything, 30%. That's not inflation. That's called corporate greed. Inflation is a gradual thing. Okay. The super lottery went over $1 billion. $1 billion. Okay. That is a sure measure to let you know how desperate people are, because when everybody's working and everybody has a job, how much did the Powerball lottery usually go to? 200 million, maybe every now and then $400 million, right? On average. It just went to over $1 billion because the country is in a excuse my language, shithole. Democrats.
Absolutely. And Pioneer says now black people can have gun conventions if enough of us got together and purchase space at a venue to do so. What will stop us? He says there are a lot of black people in law enforcement that would support it. Like, come on, brother.
Okay, wait, Pioneer. I'm gonna jump on this one. Anytime a group of black people come together with guns, you're going to damn sure know the sheriff is going to be out there. The local police is going to be out there. The ATF is going to be out there. There's going to be a big incident. Look what happened to what's that black group?
Black Panthers.
The who?
Oh, you're talking about NFAC?
Yeah, the NFAC. They ain't having that, dog. I mean, let's be real about it. When black people are legally trying to enjoy their rights with guns, oh no, that ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen. And
Pioneer, let me ask you this. Are you familiar with the Mulford Act? Are you familiar with that? So if you are, I'm gonna wait to see your response. If you're familiar with the Mulford Act, 1967, I'm gonna wait and see. And hi, don't tell me stop. Let me say, don't need no man. Stop telling me I do. How you doing? And Thunder says, if you ask those other churches to do the same, they will quote the Bible, selling your cloak to buy one. Yes, indeed. And Freddie B. And then Tanya says, so true, Donovan. And Freddie B says, I got a lifetime gun license. Okay. And Easy says, it's called straw purchase, Donovan. And Tanya says, that's that the way to track which black folks have guns. Okay. And Don, how you doing? It says, hey, Demetra and Donovan. Facts Not Feeling says a criminal will turn in a gun that does not work or is broken while keeping his real gun. Yeah, it's like, come on, man. That's what you call the banana in the tailpipe. Mr. Piper says they're going to sell a $700 gun for $50 and a Walmart card at that. Yep. And Only Pamela's Way says Q Biden because as soon as he or Skamala can make a speech or / dog whistle about the buyback program, they will. Yeah, and they're going to try to tout this. It was a success. No, success is when the murders, or the crimes actually stop or, or curtail significantly. That's a success. But you just getting guns, that's not really a thermometer of if the crime will go up or down. I mean, I wouldn't think it is, but I suck at statistics. So, and Nay Jag, how you doing? Says this will make it easier for them to kill us when they get ready. Keep your peace. Good point. DJ Charisma, how you doing? And Damon says at one point black folks weren't allowed to have firearms. Yes, indeed. I'm waiting for the Pioneer to answer my question. Sunlight says, and I didn't win, y'all. Don't feel bad. I didn't win either, but there's always tomorrow. Thunder says in Texas, you can do a person-to-person transaction when you sell firearms. It's legal. Okay. And Al
Texas
says,
and California, very hard to do. Very hard to do.
What'd I say?
No.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're saying a person-to-person in Texas. Anything goes in Texas, man. Geez, I mean, they love their guns. But here in California, oh, my God. Permit to carry, concealed. The politicians and the police department are going crazy here in California as people are getting concealed permits.
Yes, indeed. Al says, did Matthew McConaughey from the movie The Lincoln Lawyer turn in the gun that he got? I don't know, refresh my memory. Hey, Yanni, how you doing? And Damon says, Black Panthers. Yes, we're getting somewhere. DJ Charisma says, if you are a black homeowner, you better not give up your gun. I am a homeowner myself, and I'm trying to have a gun collection. Yeah, most other people do. A lot of white people and other people, they have gun collections. You know who they trying to protect themselves from? You. Because the media tells them that you are a threat. And yes,
and let me say this also, if you're a homeowner, a lot of people don't know this. Stop letting the police into your home. If they do not have a warrant, do not let the police come into your home. Because if your son has a little weed sitting out there in your home, and as you welcome them in, that's called, it's a direct sight or something, and they can now arrest you in your home without a warrant because you welcomed them in. But if you did welcome them in, you can also welcome them out. A lot of people don't know that because you guys bow to the authority, the appeal to authority. Do not let law enforcement into your house for any reason unless they have a warrant. And when they have the warrant, read it before you let them in.
I see Donovan answer my question when I asked the Pioneer to answer my question. And Pioneer, so you say, I know about the Mulford Act. It was the act the state of California passed after Black Panthers came up in California's State House with their arms. Yes. So does that kind of answer your question when you says what's stopping us from doing that? Those white folks via Ronald Reagan, who was the governor at the time, legislated to stop black people from guns, gun ownership, and legally, carrying guns out in the open and all of that. When the Black Panthers showed that sign of force, and they were more or less like, we're not trying to do anything to anybody, just like the NFAC. Where's the NFAC? They made legislation to stop that. And so while in theory, yes, it's cute and all of that we can have a gun show, and I don't see the problem with it, but they ain't trying to let Negroes get too powerful here in this country. I think that's when we really need to just come to terms with where we are as black people in America. They do not mean for black people to outnumber them. We are, regardless if plantations still exist or not, and they don't in a slavery sense, that ideology is still there. We can't have the slaves, black people, getting powerful enough to potentially overtake us. We can't have that. So I don't know, y'all tell me. And Rock Regular, how you doing? He says it starts at home. Food, clothing, protection, education, and shelter is primary. Religion is secondary. Yes, indeed. And that's biblical, too, in case you didn't know. But Rock, I know you know that. And the Pioneer says, although Donovan apparently put in the chat before I could show off my knowledge, laugh out loud. I know, hard-headed. And thank you, Marcus. If you guys are on Facebook and you are watching this and you want me to read your comment, click on the link, and I would love to do that. Above, beyond, and forever. He says, only a fool would give up his guns. Yes, indeed. And DJ Charisma says, and please, if you have a gun, I don't care about your state not caring about whether you have a gun permit or not. In order to buy a gun, still obtain a gun permit. Yes. Pioneer says, not sure about the status of the leader, but the NFAC. NFAC was a good example of how black folks can get together with arms and the law will do nothing about it as long as they are doing it legally. But see, that ain't what happened with them. He's accused of allegedly pointing his rifle at a law enforcement official, and he's looking at 27 years, and that's a weak case. but they just felt like they needed to get him on something. Of course, we're talking about the leader, Grandmaster Jay. And he could be doing damn near 30 years for something they trumped up. But where's the rest of the organization? You haven't heard a word from them. So
right.
You tell me.
And that's how they do it. They what's that the mafia says? Once you cut off the head of the snake, the body's going to die.
Yeah, and more importantly, you know, we need to stop the rise of a black messiah. And the greatest threat to America is Negro unity. So those ideologies are still there. They have not gone anywhere, but it's us that keeps living in la la land thinking, oh, well, and I'm not saying we shouldn't as black people try to do certain things, but we got to start with unifying first, right? We start unifying, then we can have a little bit more leeway, but we got so many schisms within our community. It is unreal. And then within the last couple of years, how many more schisms that we've created in the black community. And I don't want to get into it. You guys know what I'm talking about, but there's a lot of other schisms in our community. So it's like, and we don't understand. We see all the other groups, they're unified. They get what they need, but as black people, we got this group and that group, and we don't like this group and that group, but we talking about rights. How the hell are you going to get rights if you're not even unified?
Right. And you want to talk about unification. Now, D, here in California, we have towns called Little Saigon, China, Koreatown, Armenia Town, whatever, right? All these Asiatic towns. They unified as Asians, even though they have their different sections, but they were smart enough to know, hey, look, we're all Asian. So for us to thrive and do what we got to do, we got to stick together as Asians. And then they started creating their own little basic towns. As black people, we have Caribbean blacks, we have African blacks, we have American blacks, we have all these blacks here, but we can't get together because of these schisms.
Yep. Yes, Al, Ice Cube had a song called Bop Gun. And then Thunder says they didn't attack the NFAC group. They trumped up charges on the leader, but you must be honest, they didn't run up shooting that large group of armed black folks. No, they did not. Above Beyond Forever says, why don't the police ever turn in their guns? You better ask somebody. Easy says D. Mulford Act prohibited loaded guns without permit. Well, it also got rid of open and carry in California. It got rid of that because that's what they were doing. They were, on the steps, with their guns out in full display, because at the time it was legal to do that. But Ronald Reagan, being a big time racist he was like, hell no. These Negroes out here, they armed to the teeth. So we can't have that, right? So it was all good until they saw Black Panthers doing it. But now, California's got a different set of rules.
Well, now, thank God to the Republicans that said that that's bullshit because you're restricting my right. What's the point of the right of bearing arms in California? I can only speak for California. And you can't go outside with your weapon. Where in the Constitution does it say only in your house? It doesn't say that. And thank God the Supreme Court overstruck that. And now people with a concealed carry permit can now take a gun to wherever they want to go and do what they got to do, because an armed society is a polite society. But again, key word here, it took Republicans to give us our rights to protect ourselves, because also the Supreme Court mandated that police do not have the duty of your safety. You are responsible for your safety. Thus, that school shooting in UVAD, whatever, those cops were in perfectly right to take care of themselves. They're not there to protect us. We have to protect ourselves. And that's mandated by the Supreme Court. They are, because if that was the case and you got hurt in the street, the police would be liable, right? So the Supreme Court said, no, police departments are not there to protect you and all that other crap.
Raymond Cook, how you doing? He says, oh my God, ladies and gentlemen of America, you must keep your guns. The purge is coming. Or as the other people say, civil war is coming. You may be on to something. Guns and butter, how you doing? He says, they will have to pry my guns out of my cold, dead black hands. That is a step up for black families to be a setup. Oh, I'm sorry, a setup. I can't read, y'all. They probably need
the great Charlton Heston from my cold, dead hands.
That is a setup for black families to be helpless. Absolutely. Again, they're having gun conventions for white folks, but they come to the neighborhoods. And then, I guess anybody can go to a gun convention, but They not having to turn in your gun campaigns in the white neighborhoods. A good point. Pioneer says, I don't know what was planned between Grandmaster Jay and the law enforcement, but clearly there were thousands of armed Black people getting together, and law didn't or couldn't stop them. Yeah, but where are they now? I don't know. I'm not saying that they're disbanded or whatever, but where are they now? We haven't seen them since Grandmaster Jay got locked up, if you will. Mr. Pirebrain says, I'm out. He says, I brought men, I bought mine from an Austin sheriff that I used to work with person to person. Okay, so you're saying in Texas that buying it person to person thing. Okay. And Facts Not Feeling says, never let cops come into your home, never talk to cops, never answer questions. Yes, make them get a warrant. And the Pioneer says, sometimes the biggest obstacle in the way of Black folks are Black folks themselves, so afraid of what white folks will do. They choose to do nothing and end up targets anyway. No, we're not saying we shouldn't choose to do anything, but unless you use a little common sense, right? And study history. If you study history, then I think we would know where to go. But a lot of people don't study history. Only Pamela's Way says, in Miami and South Carolina, they're doing some kind of homeless camp, quote unquote. It popped in my head about what Donovan said about the camps. Okay. And Thunder says, and if you say the name Black Panthers, please say their full names of Black Panther Party. Yes, indeed. For self-defense. That is absolutely the name. It says this fully explains who and what they are. Absolutely. Well, I mean, they were set up to protect Black people against brutalizing police officers and a whole host of things. But really, that was the reason they organized. And Bivlin, how you doing? It says, and also because inside they know what they've done, so they must cover their guns. They must, they must covet their guns. They must teach their youth to covet. It's the only thing they have to stop their worst fear. That is true. Above and beyond forever says NFAC was a big joke. Okay. Mr. Pirebrain says everybody should put a screen door with a lock so police can't put their foot in your door. That's a good point.
That's what everybody does here in California. I got a big old screen door. It's going to take a lot to bust through that thing.
Right. And Freddie, it says the Constitution wasn't wrote with us in mind, only the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. And those don't necessarily help Black people, but you're right. Pioneer says, Queen, if we're going to say that white folks aren't going to let Black folks operate in any organized fashion, then what's the purpose of any of our people having guns then? Well, you want to protect yourself from a whole host of things. It's not just white people. I think we need to, not think that it's like all the big bad boogeyman white people are coming. Yeah, they're a threat too, but we know that crime is about proximity. And so it's normally going to happen with the people you live closest to. So you want to be protected. I mean, now, like I said, we talk about this a lot. We hear stories of people getting jacked at gas stations and stuff. And so if you have one on you, you might be able to live another day or whatever. But it's not just to protect ourselves from white people. It's just in general.
Well, Malcolm X said this just before he died. Your life is your most precious gift. And if you got to give it up, make it even Steven.
Absolutely. And Damon says, tell that to the congressional Black talkers, sell out at level 10. Yep. And Rex, how you doing? It says, get a firearm and get training, then practice. People seem to skip that part. Absolutely. Just going to pick up a Saturday night special talking about I'm the ultimate badass. And you ain't had not a lick of training, right? Mess around and shoot your eye out.
Well, what a lot of people don't know, you can get a gun and it can blow up in your hand. And so you're going to be doing yourself your own damage because if it hasn't been oiled and cleaned and stuff, a lot of people don't know. They just think like the movies, just pick up a gun and it has unlimited amounts of bullets in it.
There's more to it than that. And Easy says, D, I can tell you from experience that the white folks are uncomfortable around Black people with or without a permit and even in uniform, but they have to respect the uniform. Absolutely. And Rex says, by the way, much love to you too. Miss you. Thank you so much.
And wait, I want to say this real quick. There was a time, and I think Demetria's still of that mind. Demetria was so mad living out here in California, she wanted to go get a gun. You need to get your gun.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Who's to say I don't have one? And Neo Beta Alpha 15, interesting name. How you doing? And Pioneer says that's great. Great question, Queen. What happened to the rest of the organization? Their leader got put in jail, but most of them are free. What's stopping them from having more rallies? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You tell me. Maybe they said, hey, you better, put the kibosh on your group. Otherwise, it's going to be some real problems. And so, from what I understand, I could be mistaken. Sounds like when he was going through all of that, he told them to stand down or whatever that means. I don't know.
But then again, it's the same thing with our civil rights leader. Once everybody got killed, how come Nate Abernathy didn't stand up after King got killed? Look at all these people that didn't stand up. And the ones that did stand up, Jesse Jackson, all these other people, all the lieutenants, they ran for office. And, how the hell do you tell people for almost 20 years the system is corrupt, the system is prejudiced, the system is racist, then you go join it? John Lewis and other civil rights type people, Bobby Seals.
Yes, indeed. Explicit Mind, how you doing? He says, love you, Demetra. Love you too. He says, and you all may disagree with me, but the title Black fulfills white supremacy even in politics. Okay, so I guess basically saying we shouldn't call ourselves Black. Is that what you're saying? Okay. And Neo Beta says we need to unite and separate from these other nations. Yeah, but right now we're too busy separating from each other. Pioneer says, in fairness, I would say that Latinos and Asians are united in the United States because their distrust and competition with Black people unites them. If we weren't around, they'd be fighting each other. Okay, but let's say that is true, which I'm not disputing it. Don't we have common enemies or enemies? We've had them ever since we were brought over here. So why is it taking us so long to organize and unify? And Danya says, I'm not giving up nothing. I pay $1,000 for each of mine, and they are new. Hell, if I'm trading my ish in. I know that's right. And Easy says numbers are the same. Numbers are the name of the game. The more numbers we have, the harder to come after all. But again, we got a whole bunch of groups now that we subscribe to. Neo Beta and say FBA only. These other Black groups are used against us by whites. Okay. And Donnie says, we are trained in the academy to never give up our service weapon. And Tatum, Kathy Tatum, I should say, how you doing? He says, don't be surprised. The guns give back happen. Be taken out of holding vault, gave to families and friends to give back at an event. Oh, so you said that they took the guns out of the vault, gave them to their homies, and said, show up to this event and get the. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. They take those guns and give it to their friends and family members and stuff because it's not traceable.
And Explicit Mind says eugenics, Darwinism. Yes, indeed. Study both of them. Eugenics, of course, knows that that deals with the extermination, for lack of better words, of Black people. And it says the downtrodden, which was mostly Black people even then. And Darwinism, which is survival of the fittest. Study them both. And the Pioneer says the Mulford Act and a lot of these other laws were designed to target Black people. True. However, there are plenty of Black judges and lawyers who can challenge these laws and remove them if they chose to. Well, what they waiting on? What's taking them so long? And I know you don't think Ketanji Brown Jackson gonna go up in there and do anything. I'm just talking on the federal level. And Explicit Mind says, do you need a permit to speak? To speak where? Because there is this thing called freedom of speech. So I guess if you want to, I don't know, it depends on where you're trying to speak. And Damon says, Professor Black Truth, he says hashtag power tools. Okay, that's what they call them. And Azriel, how you doing? Says Miss K, get you an AR-15. Oh, I don't know what I would do with all that firepower. It can be quite intimidating. I just need a little something I could pull out of my purse. You want to play with me, sucker? I'm just kidding. And Neo Beta says the best way to keep us unarmed is for you to hand over yours. Yeah, but we just keep, believing we're doing the right thing. Pioneer says, Brother Donovan, many of those court rulings and Republican rhetoric is deception and lies because most people still don't have the right to carry openly and when they want to.
Well, that's true. But what I'm saying is because they send it back down to the states. It isn't a federal thing. Well, it's been struck down federally all across the way, but we know it's a state thing. So like in California, for over 60 years since Ronald Reagan did that, you could not carry openly in California, and the only people that could were like, you got to have a good reason, like you're a jeweler, you're a Brinks carrier or something like that. Everybody else couldn't carry it. It's very hard to have firearms in California where the Democrats control everything. So let's look at it. If California, which is the 10th biggest economy in the world, by itself, we're not trendsetters, but think about this. This is a Democratic state. Why are the Democrats, who are for the people, keeping a basic right away from 34 million Americans here in the state of California? Why are they doing that?
Absolutely. And Pioneer says they tell you have the right to open and carry, quote unquote, but if you pull your gat out in public in certain places, you can be accused of brandishing your weapon. That is true. You need to know the law. Don't just be out there, okay, corralling and stuff, because you could get yourself in trouble. Thunder says, if you think you guys are a shadow banned, the thumbnail for this show is still showing as upcoming. It doesn't say live, and the notifications didn't go out. I guess you're moving up in the YouTube world. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I didn't get a notification or anything. And yeah, so we've been shadow banned. Absolutely.
Oh, no. What we do? I'm trying to look right now and see what I see on my end. Let me see.
Well, like we said, the revolution shouldn't be televised. So, regardless of that, I mean, you guys being a fellow co-host, you have a job to do by showing up here at 3 o'clock on time.
And Neo Beta says, this is the definition of gun control, to control who has them, and they want us unarmed. Yes, indeed. And Tanya said, exactly. And Thunder says, I meant upcoming. So it's, I just looked at it now. It looks like it's saying that it's live. Yeah, there ain't no telling what's going on. And Azriel, you say, buy scopes and drums. Okay. And Jeremy, how you doing? He says the police aren't turning in their guns. In fact, recently there was a police officer arrested for buying 22 guns for a felon in Pennsylvania. So while Black people are disarming, it was kind of jumbled at the end, so maybe it got cut off or something. But you're absolutely right, and I didn't know about the cops selling 22 guns. And Brother Reggie says a Saturday night special day. Yeah, that's what they used to call them back in the day. What's that on? What is one of those Charles Bronson movies? Death Wish or something like that. The guy had a Saturday night special.
Yeah, Death Wish and 10 to Midnight. Yeah, Death Wish and 10 to Midnight. 10 to Midnight was my favorite.
Yeah. And Mr. Pirebrain says we should be investing in body armor. Damn. And Thunder says, did you hear about Zimbabwe offering a gold coin? I did not hear that at all. And Damien says it's called.
Zimbabwe offered a gold coin currency. So they're basically trying to put everybody back on gold standard.
Oh. So they're doing what Gaddafi was trying to do, huh? Gaddafi was trying to do the same exact thing. And look what the United States did to him. And Damien says it's called dry fire training. Okay. And the Pioneer says that the first thing a person who hasn't handled firearms has to get is used to how loud they are and the amount of power that comes out of it, which can scare most people who aren't used to it. My father used to allow us to fire his rifle, and all of us, I couldn't have been more like 10 or 11, and it would always kick us down to the ground. I was like, woo.
Yeah, the funny thing, I have a cousin, she was in the Navy, and she had her M16 stuff. She was barely as tall as the M16. And she's in the Middle East, doing her little thing, and the gun is like almost as tall as she is.
And Kevin, how you doing? It says no, because crimes are committed regardless. Black folks are the only ones that are asked to give up their guns. Yep, I agree with you. And Jeremy says, I hit send by accident. Okay, he says, Black people are voluntarily disarming ourselves. They are illegally arming themselves by any means. Yes, indeed. And Biblically says, they just always want to be in with them. They just use the struggle to get their attention. Yep. And Pioneer says, great point, Donovan. How the hell you spend decades preaching to people that the system is corrupt, and then when you get older, you turn around and join the damn system. That's how it is. And Donnie says, because they are Boule. King was Boule and woke up. Sorry, Farrakhan is Boule. Okay. And the Pioneer says, another good question, Queen. What's taking us so long to unify? I'd say because there are too many fools in our community, and you can't expect a fool to get on code or unite for a common purpose. Yeah. But do you think there are more fools in our community than people that are not fools? And the other thing is, you said what's taking us so long to unify is because we're too busy trying to unify with people who don't want to unify with us. And as I said, I know, it's not a, friendly subject or whatever, but as of late, we've created even more sections of blackness. So it's like, I don't know. Y'all tell me. Sunlight says, I see a lot of flashing guns and training, but I have yet to hear about any white supremacists or race soldiers getting fill in the blank. And
well, wait, let me address that real quick. Okay. Do you know where a lot of these white supremacists are getting their training? 70-something% of the military is white, right? That's where they're getting their training. They're getting their training in the military. Now, I'm not saying the military is for everybody, but when I hear a black person say, I'm not joining no white man's army, I get it. I understand that. But they are joining and getting the training. And a lot of your race soldiers are coming out of the military and joining police departments. And that's where they're coming with all this stuff. But here we are, a 16, 17-year-old kid just shooting blindly and don't know how to really, tactically move. Whereas these white supremacists, they're going in there, using their military training against targets of convenience.
And let's see here. Sanchez, how you doing? He says, who in their right mind is going to give police guns? Do you know how much a gun costs so they can give you $50? I totally agree with you. Finder says, well, first of all, if the Second Amendment guarantees you the right to keep and carry arms, why do you need Republicans or any other politicians to re-give you that right with another law?
Because legislators they make the laws. So again, just like they could have codified Roe versus Wade to make it permanent, that's why you have the legislation. They can change the Constitution. Thus, the 14th, 15th, and 16th Amendment applies to us. They can take that out at any time if they want to. So that's why.
Thunder says, Demetri K, you can handle AR-15. Agnes was able to get her fingers around that big black rifle and use it. A young woman like you would be able to handle it, no problem. I'll keep that in mind.
Yes, and Thunder, me and Demetri were talking about me getting on your program as well. We were talking about this before we came on the show.
I told him, I said he might need to talk to you, and see how he can get him a season. Like I'm talking about the pork fat seasoning that our grandmamas and them used to have on the porch, the salt pork seasoning, ladies. He hasn't tried the extra seasoned lady. So I told him to reach out to you and get some pointers on, maybe that's where he's going to find his happiness with, some seasoned ladies. I'm talking about the marinated ladies. And Kathy says, Donovan, Houston buyback turned in 800 guns at the church. I don't believe all politicians showed up with the media unless they knew, very suspicious. Everyone in line was black. So we have no justice, no peace, or defense. Absolutely. So yeah, it's like, come on, that was a nice trick, but some ain't right. And Thunder says they call the AR-15 the black rifle, just in case you were wondering. Oh, okay.
I thought they called the chopper the AK-47. That's the weapon to have, man. That thing just chops everything down.
Yes. And Damon says, Miss K, get you a Taurus G2C 9mm. Trust me on this one. Okay, y'all speaking Spanish to me, so. And Azriel, you say the IRS just brought 10mm submachines for them. They did? Why? And Dine says, I'm getting
Kalishnikov.
Okay. Custom looks like candy. All right, y'all.
Kalishnikov.
Very good brand. Azariah says IRS just spent over what is that? 300,000 on a submarine.
Submachine guns for themselves. So what they're doing is they're, I guess, they mandated that the IRS now can arm themselves because they are a target type group.
Hell yeah! Why you charged me all that money last year?
Yeah, yeah, and you know, and real quick also, how many of you guys heard that Joe Biden is continuing to fill the wall down by Yuma, Arizona? Didn't he say that the wall was when Trump was in was racist, but he's going down there and putting more walls up? Interesting, Democrat.
Yes, indeed. Damien says race soldiers with PTSD. And Sunlight says, no, Donovan, I'm talking about us, not them. And Donnie says, not only that, they are being trained as children by their former military fathers and mothers. Good point. Misty Blue, how you doing? Says Shalom. Please check out Carol Anderson's new book, The Second, and on YouTube. So The Second. Okay. And Jeremy says, maybe the people are giving the guns to the alphabet people dropped off in their neighborhoods in the first place. Oh, alphabet people like the FBI and CIA and all them. Okay. Vicky, how you doing? And Rock, you say for the last 500 years, most Black folks have been at war. The problem is that most African Americans in this country don't have an understanding of what war truly is. Good point. And Don says it's very hard. It's a very hard life, and not everyone can do it because there's a lot of shit you have to deal with physically and emotionally and still not sell out. Pioneer says, well, a lot of Black folks are in the military or in law enforcement. Thank goodness they aren't listening to the anti-cop rhetoric pushed in our much of our Afro-American culture. This is our country too. Okay. Rex says, too bad you don't still live in Cali, Demetra. I take you to the range and let you try a bunch of different ones. Well, I will be going back there soon for a visit. So maybe I have to hook up with you and, you know, Donovan too. He hasn't offered to take me to the gun range. And my brother too, and my nephews, they got some stuff. And our Sunlight says, yep, that G2C is the best gun for women. Okay. And Only Pamela's Way says, ought to be well said.
Wait. I didn't mean to cut you off. Remember that gun I told you about at the base that would be perfect for you? That's what it was, a G2C. That's what I'm telling you about.
Okay. And Only Pamela's Way said, ought to be well said. The Winchester should be a part of every Black family's household. Yes, she did. And Thoughts of the Week podcast. How you doing? It says, one pop from the chopper will drop you. Okay. And Thunder says, NAAGA, National African American Gun Association. Check these guys out. And Sunlight says the G2Cs come in cute colors too. It says purple is your favorite.
Purple, pink. They have the pink ones, the blue, you know, all the women, the powder puff blue stuff.
Get mine's black or silver because I don't want you to think I'm somebody to play with, okay? I don't want you to say, oh, that's cute, but I'm gonna choke you. And
now, fellas, we need a list of all these women that are armed. Those are the women you just either don't deal with or you don't fuck over.
The last part. Don says the IRS is part of Treasury. They got big guns. Explicit Mind says, notice no one has said anything positive in reference to the term Black. It's really effective in social conditioning. You can't change your circumstances until you change your thinking. Okay, well, what should we call ourselves if you don't mind me asking you? And the Pioneer says, I thought AKs were still illegal. Unlike ARs, AKs are fully automatic and fully automatic rifles are illegal.
Yes, absolutely. But, you know, when you remember in the movie Distinguished Gentleman, if you're going goose hunting, you could use them and stuff like that. No, the AKs are illegal, but for some reason, a lot of gangs have them. So how are these guns getting into the country?
Thunder says, I'm telling you, Don, once you try gray, there ain't no other way. Like it, love it, and need more of it. Well, damn.
Wait, and they have their Social Security. They're eligible for their Social Security.
And they know how to flick just the right enough seasoning on it too. You, Donovan, I think you might need you a very older woman. I want to see you with, like, when I come visit y'all, I want to hear her once say, sit your black ass down. That's who I want to see you with, somebody who got that authority as an older woman to tell you and put you in your place.
Yeah, the one with the double G bra size.
That's right. with the muumuu on and with the pointy bra, you know, like our grandmas used to wear the pointy bras.
Yeah, in the 60s. Yeah.
That's who I want to see you with. And she got a cast iron frying pan on her stove. That's who I want to see you with. Somebody say, you know what time it is. You know, you got to rub this Bengay on my knees. That's who I want to see you with.
Exactly. I need my medicine. Go to the cabinet and get my medicine.
Right. Okay, for real. Oh, and so as really says, Israelite sister. Okay, so that's who we are. We should not call ourselves black. Got you. Pioneer says, what I don't understand, actually, I do. So it's rhetorical, is how they can do stories on these militias firing fully automatic and illegal weapons, preparing to overthrow, and they not be arrested. Who do you think is part of those militias? How many law enforcement people got caught up in the January 6th incident? Quite a few of them. So there's your answer. And Sanchez says, black is a color. We should be calling ourselves Negro. That's a race. Okay, I call myself a Negro and other people other stuff sometimes. But yeah, I get where you're going with that. Thunder says, as soon as I see those silver highlights, I'm on her like back pockets on a pair of Levi's. And Azrael says, it says war or was 10 AKs are legal. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Forgive me for that. And Rex says wrong. AKs are not fully automatic. They are civilian versions that are semi-automatic ones, just like the ARs.
And Rex said, you're absolutely right. But you know it as well as I know, some of our military buddies took some war treasures and brought some of those AKs that the enemy was using back into the country.
Gotcha. Damon says, no gun ranges here. A lot are open areas in Kern Valley to take your power tools out. Okay. Pioneer says, I've seen several stories, even on mainstream news, of reporters walking around talking to these right-wing militia members out of practicing with their weapons. Reporters can find them, but cops can't. Exactly, right? They're watching them in the woods and they're crawling and, yeah, we got to prepare. And the reporter's right there with them. But it's like...
Well, remember in 2000, we couldn't find bin Laden, but a reporter went right to the cave where bin Laden was and interviewed him.
Exactly. What? Come on. Y'all laughing because y'all know it's true. That's what Donovan needs. He needs him a woman that got a couple of little gray hairs under her chin, you know, and have her little stockings rolled down like donuts at the ankles.
Yeah, she's got the little thing, but you know what? She has to be a member of the Big Hat Gang. I'm not going to church with her unless she's a member of the Big Hat Gang. She got to be front row.
You don't need a sister going to church. You need a heathen old lady that's...
Oh, you mean that the sister that was like the club going one? Do you ever see that that meme where the lady for her funeral, they propped her up for her funeral and she was the grandma that went to the club all the time?
You need you a sister, an older sister that is too old to hang out at the Elks Lodge. That's who you need to be with.
But can she go to the VFW?
She can, but she's, those days are past her now. You know what I'm saying? And let's see here. Thunder says AK-47s, some are not fully automatic. They're made for civilian population. And even if they're fully automatic, you need a class 3 tax stamp, or some people call them a license to have a fully automatic. Y'all better come on with the knowledge. And if I didn't already, Wilbur, how you doing? Jeremy, you say, how rude of me. I just jumped in the room and started talking. Good evening, Demetri K, Donovan, and Black First Fam. Yes, indeed. That's okay. It's all good. Thunder says, God bless Texas ARKs and AR-15s, G3s, and anything that goes bang is not illegal down here. And Damon says, Tiger Bomb for the old folks. Yes, she got to have a Tiger Bomb on back order. It just automatically shows up at the door. She ain't even got to go to the store. It just shows up. And Raymond says,
she has a lifetime supply of Tab in the garage.
Yes, I want her to be so old that she still collects blue stamps. That's how old I want her to be for Donovan. And Raymond says, there are 15 rifle or AKs for that thing that Donovan said. How do you say it?
Kalashnikovs.
Kalashnikovs. It is sold here in America to the public, or semi-automatic rifles are not fully automatic. And Jeremy says, we can't expect these people to arrest themselves and their family members. And Bivlin says, your doctor, your dentist, the prosecutor, fee store owner, those are the folks in the militia. You better preach. And Explicit Mind says, you tell them to call you Demetra K. They want to call you black. Okay. And you don't have to ascribe to their thinking. I'm not okay with anyone else outside of melanated people calling me black. It's rude. Okay. Well, where did the term black come from? Isn't that something that we came up with? I'm black and I'm proud. You know what I mean? Because at first we were called
James Brown. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. It was called
and then it's used as an adjective as well when you're describing somebody. So when the police says we need a description, it was a black guy.
Correct. But I hear what you're saying. And Jafia, how you doing? And Azrael says, war. I don't know if you're saying war.
WASP 10 is a Romanian AK-47.
Gotcha. Y'all speaking gun stuff now. And Missy Blue says, have y'all seen the RWS children at the gun range? So you're talking about the white children at the yeah, and they are efficient too. Martin says
the white women are going.
Yep. Marty says it depends on the state. Not everyone turns in guns in Detroit. They turn in old, broke down ones. If you think you're turning in a gun, nobody should insult your intelligence with a gift card, $50 to $100. I totally agree with you. And the Pioneer says, Queen. So in other words, you want to see Donovan with a woman who keeps a hot comb. Yes. Lying on her stove, and the smell of burnt hair and grease permeates the house every time you come over. And I want her to have that bucket or that coffee can full of grease.
The fish grease. Yeah.
No, it ain't just fish, brother. It ain't just fish in there. It's fish, it's potatoes, it's chicken, it's you name it. That's the. I mean, hell, she might be able to put some in your burn too when she press up your hair. Yeah.
Well, no, but here's the thing though. Here's the thing. That is the one time I would not get upset at her having a wig. We're about to go downtown. Go grab my wig, baby.
And don't forget the teeth. And Justice Anointed Courage, how you doing? He says, disarm the prisoners. And Thunder says, get yourself one of those active seniors. Yes, active. The actively to tell you to sit your black ass down.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, though, in all seriousness, though, there are a lot of older women that are, for some reason, that they're single or something like that. But remember Judge Stacy, what's her name? Stacy, she was a judge in Texas. We interviewed her on the show one time. Stacy Williams, I think her name was.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of her, but I know who you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, she's like 70-something years old, I think. Maybe late 60s, 70s. Yes, maybe late 60s. Something. Very attractive woman. I wouldn't have thought she looked as old as she was. So a lot of women are taking care of themselves, looking good. So
yeah, she wasn't that old. Yes, if y'all could please hit the like button. And we do also have ways to donate to the channel there at the bottom of the screen. Love you and appreciate you. And let's see here. Azrael says, get a sister that keeps plastic on her furniture. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Plastic, and she got that plastic runner from the door all the way through the house, so she don't want you stepping on her carpet. Yes, you got to. Thank you for adding that in. And Mark Bruce Wayne Brown, how you doing? He says, hell no, it's not a solution. It makes our predicament worse if we don't have the needs to defend ourselves or our homes. I totally agree with you. And Explicit Mind says Darwinism. And Pioneer says, sis, you say Donovan needs a sister with one of those big old bags enough to fit her Bible, hot comb, Vaseline, mini liquor bottoms, pink oil, sheen spray, and of course her straight razor. Yes. And don't forget her Virginia Slims or her cool cigarettes. The cool, you know what I mean?
And the bonnet. You got to have the bonnet.
Well, maybe not a bonnet, but a net. You know, I'm old sisters wear the nets over their hair to keep it in place so it wouldn't move. That you might need that, sister. Yes. And Special Mind says, Don said it, police trained thinking. And Jeremy says, I've had an eye on that clock for a semi for 12 gauge. Say it again. I want to be able to say it right. Kalashnikov. It's not said how it's spelled. Kalashnikov. Okay. And Jan, and if I didn't already, how you doing? Says question: who's promoting and funding those different groups? And which different groups are you speaking of?
Probably
And,
the militias, where they kind of fund themselves, because you got to think about it. A lot of the members of the militia are funded by attorneys, dentists, the shop owner, the mill owner. You know, the same people you might even work for are militia members.
And Moni says, Demetri, you might want to consider going back to Cali. Seems like you got an awful lot going on in Texas that's unbelievable, from high-end monkeypox cases along with parts of California too. Yeah, California got monkeypox, but let me tell y'all something. I stay in the house 95% of the time, unless I'm going to the store and I'm going working out. I suspended my gym membership because I do not want to look like I got polka dots all over me. That shit looks creepy.
Or the Elephant Man.
I don't want it. I'm no shade to anybody who's got it. I just personally don't want it. It would just creep me out if I like. Ooh. All right. Azrael says shalom. It says Lacombe family, peace and love from Detroit. I hope I said that right. Mad Marks, how you doing? It says sadly, most guns that get turned in are inoperable or BB guns confiscated by parents. Wow.
Yeah,
so no,
well, you know, but you know, one thing about guns, if you know guns, the parts are valuable, so they could be interchangeable. So I might not need the gun itself, but I might need a part to complete another gun.
Makes sense. And Marty says, Donovan, on Esther is even a prime has never been a beautiful one. Ooh, never been a beautiful woman, maybe. But if that's what you consider beautiful, no thanks. Gotta keep looking, brother. You ain't limited ever.
Have you seen Aunt Esther when she was a dancer? She was a club dancer. She was a beautiful, I mean, even when she was on Sanford and Son, I thought she was a beautiful woman if you look at her features. But if you saw her when she was younger, that woman was attractive. I'm talking tall, attractive. But I guess, you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But to me, even when she was on Sanford and Son, remember she would go, "You fish eye fool," the way she moved and stuff. She knew her stuff. So, and she was married for a long time, as I understand as well. So yeah, I thought she was beautiful. But do you know the picture I'm talking about, Demetra?
I got you. I got you coming up right now. And Mad Marks, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. I'm going to show y'all who Moni is talking about.
LaWanda Page, the great LaWanda Page.
They called her the brown goddess or the bronze goddess or something like that. I got you.
Pardon me, do you know the Lord?
Watch this. I got you. That right there was Aunt Esther. What you say about that, Moni? That was Aunt Esther.
Yes, Lord. Natural. There's nothing better than a sister. I'm sorry. Nothing better.
Yes, indeed. I'll leave that up there just for a little bit. Pioneer says, also speaking of attractive older Black women, did y'all know our sister Nichelle Nichols, who played Lieutenant Ura, passed away last night? An ancestor now. Rest in peace and power, our dear, beautiful sister. Donovan, why you ain't tell me that she passed away?
No, you know what? I knew she was in hospice and was sick for a long time, but I didn't get the word that she passed away last night. Man, that was a beautiful woman. And the thing is, she actually was a dancer too. Before she went to Star Trek, she was a trained dancer. She was a trained dancer. Beautiful woman.
And what made her role so controversial?
The first interracial kiss on TV.
Yes,
Kurt
indeed.
kissed them all. Black, green, purple, blue, didn't matter.
Right, but when he kissed the black one, it was like, oh my God, I'll never watch again. Yes, indeed. And Thunder says, and I got to let you know, when you find one of those attractive seniors who had a complete hip replacement and both knees replaced, you are in for something special.
You know what, Thunder? The funny thing you say that, my mom just had a hip replacement 2 weeks ago, and she's still on the mend. I mean, she's starting to walk better and stuff like that, but she's on the mend. So
keep her away from Thunder. Stacy, though, how you doing? Says ghost guns are also a huge concern. And Moni says Greg Abbott is doing so much in Texas. Y'all got a lot, from restricting women and having abortions, the banning of the black rights. Too much going on in hot Texas. Time to go to California or Nevada or Florida. Well, you know, in Las Vegas,
flooding.
They had a hell of a flooding.
Yeah, monsoon. The flooding hit.
All up in those casinos. And Jafia says New York have over 13 cases of monkeypox. Now they are trying to convince New Yorkers to get vaccines. Like, nah, like you got a vaccine for this, a vaccine for that. Is like, you know what? I think they're more prone to shut things down due to this monkeypox than they were the COVID, because now you can see who got the monkeypox. And what a lot of people don't understand is that quarantine is, some people said they've been in quarantine getting over for like over a month now. So it ain't just like a quick turnaround.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, there's a YouTuber. She was on the Rising show. If you guys follow YouTube, her name is Kim Iverson. She's a Vietnamese American lady. They fired her from Rising because of her taking the task of Fauci and his, you know, whatever he's trying to sell of the viruses and stuff like that So there's something going on with that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, Aunt Esther was a very beautiful woman. And Jeremy says, so I'm outside working in the garden and uncovered about 8 babies of Demetrius' favorite rat. Keep them over there with you. I have not seen that rat, mouse, whatever it is outside. And thank God, I'm hoping that cat dealt with it, you know, and all of that. Only Pamela's way said, she said, what you fish-eye fool, exactly. And then, you know, she had that old lady person. Yeah, she got to have that old lady person when you get out of line. Whop!
Yeah, and remember, she was always with her gang talking about Fred's a heathen. You old heathen.
Right, exactly. And Morning says, Anisha Nichols from Star Trek passed away, and I think we need to pay honor to this beautiful lady that broke many doors being on Star Trek. Yes, indeed. Rest in peace to her. Very beautiful sister. Pioneer says, I saw pictures of Aunt Esther LaWanda Page when she was young, and I didn't think she was very attractive back then. Laugh out loud. Her Red Fox was even kicking it with her back in the day. Yeah, they've been friends for a very long time. Even like you said, back in the day, what they call a chitlin circuit and all of that. Yeah. And when he got the gig, he brought her on. So
yeah, her, Skillet, and the other guy, they were a comedy duo. And the thing is, Aunt Esther didn't have any acting experience, and Red Fox insisted that she play that role, and that's how she got on it. It took her some time, but she ended up doing very, very well.
Yes, indeed. All right, Biblin, have a good evening. And Jafia says there are some photos of her that are even more beautiful. Oh, yes, indeed. Pioneer says the body is tight, but you didn't show the face. I did show the face. Did y'all see the face? I showed the face. Yeah.
But, you know, as men, do we really care about what the face looks like? Because you could be an ugly woman if you got a nice body. I'm sorry. That's just how men are. We're just visual like that.
Mm-hmm. Just turn the lights off, huh? And Jafia says both Nichols and Bill Russell died. Yes, Bill Russell died today as well.
What? Oh my gosh. I slept in today because I was watching the UFC fight late last night. So I'm sorry. So I'm going to check up on that.
Yes, indeed. And RIP to him as well. And Jan Michael says silver, black, and black, all black. And then Thunder says, oh, yes, oh, yes. And William says, Demetri K. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you for that comment.
And you know what? Look, stop. Demetri is okay looking. You want to see a beautiful woman? You guys should have seen her mother. That woman, you walk into a room, she was drop dead gorgeous. Now, Demetri looks a lot like her mom, but she ain't her mom. Okay, so I'm telling you, want to see what a good looking woman looks like? When I first saw Demetri's mom, I walked in, I was like, oh shit. I mean, that's how pretty she is.
Yes, my mom had it going on. Yes, she did. And Rex said Dr. Martin Luther King also talked her into staying on the job, staying in the job on Star Trek. His daughters, watched the show, and she was a positive representation. Yes, classy, right? She was classy even then. I know a lot of people didn't like her kissing old Kirk. Y'all know who's what other? Okay, I'm gonna say this: the Captain Kirk Halloween mask is what?
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers. If y'all didn't know that, his mask is a distorted face of the Captain Kirk Halloween mask, because when they were filming Halloween, it was on a very, 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 very low budget. And so they needed something, because the name of Michael Myers was the shape. And so he didn't have a name or anything yet. So they were like, damn, how are we going to make him creepy? And so they were walking through a store, a costume store or something. They saw the mask and they kind of made it, jacked the hair up and distorted the mask, and they put it on. They said that was it. And so that mask, if you look at it closely, does look like William Shatner. So in case you didn't know that. And Brother Samuel, how you doing? He says that wasn't Miss Page on Star Trek. No. So what? That wasn't Miss Page. We were talking. Somebody said that Aunt Esther wasn't attractive. Yeah. And so I put that up saying, well, she was attractive here. You know, admittedly, she was older. But you know, the crazy part is Red Fox wasn't that old on Sanford and Son. He was like 52. I
heard he was in his late 40s when he was on Sanford and Son.
He might have been in his late 40s when he started. No, I think he was like 52 or so. But hell, I'm 51. And I don't look like Red Fox. But you do, though. You do. And the Pioneer says, I'm not sure.
I'm coming to join you, Elizabeth.
Right. And the Pioneer says, I'm not sure what the controversy was about. Nothing new about a white man smooching up on black and brown women. They've been doing that. Absolutely. But on TV, you know. And Thunder says, check out photos of young Celia Cruz. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, beautiful. She was also beautiful. You know, but the funny thing is, with the networks, back in the day, we didn't have the networks that we do now, where everything's owned by like 6% of the 6 families on all the media and stuff like that. You had individually owned radio stations. And in the South, in the 1950s, I Love Lucy, they didn't want Ricky to be the father because he was a Cuban, even though he was a white Cuban. And they wouldn't air I Love Lucy in the South for, you know, I think it was like for the first year, they didn't air it down there because of the mixture of the Cuban blood there.
Right. And Pioneer says, but I'm sorry, but if the monkeypox starts spreading as bad as COVID did, it's time for the society to collapse. Ain't no working and living with that mess circulating in society, but it already is, though. It's already circulating. So just so you know, and Moni says the moral of it is keeping people to be unarmed so they can take advantage of you. If you more people had conceal and carry weapons, I think that's what it is. It will put an end to a lot of police running up and doing people like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor.
Absolutely. But that is why they don't want you armed, because when you're not armed and they've got a gun, guess who controls the situation? They do.
Yes, indeed. All right. So let's see here. Raymond, he says, no reason to be concerned about a ghost gun in the United States of America. You're allowed to build your, and then your comment cut off. So he said, there's no reason.
Yeah, you're on. You're allowed to build.
Got you. Build your own has been that way for years. Got you. Only Pamela's Way says they fired Kim Iverson. I didn't know that I would sometimes, but it has been a while. She got married too. And Monet, how you doing? Says the virus won't quit the monkey.
And real quick with Kim Iverson, she used to have her own show on YouTube. So isn't it funny how all these YouTubers are starting, Roro Martin dogging us out and stuff, but these people are getting a big following. And Kim Iverson really had a really good YouTube show on her own. I don't know why she went to Rising. Maybe it was a little bit more money and more exposure, but I hope she starts her show back up again.
Yes, indeed. You're pixeling a little bit, brother. And Monet, you say the virus won't quit. The monkey pox is in my town, and the virus that is affecting newborn babies. Yes, it's a lot going on, but you know what? I say this and I say it a lot. You cannot out legislate the will of God. It cannot be done. These legislators, these lawmakers, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Y'all read the Bible, a lot of this stuff is prophesized, and so they think they're going to out-legislate this, that, and the other. You will never be able to out-legislate the will of God, ever. And Jackie, I hope I said that right. How you doing? He says, no wonder Aunt Esther's dress fits so nice. And the Pioneer says, I've worked around people who had COVID unknowingly, but at least it didn't disfigure you. No way working with people with that mess. No way. Shut it the hell down. See, I told you. People ain't.
See, but isn't that discriminatory? But isn't that discriminatory?
But they don't know. This is the thing about it. It will disfigure people, because I've seen a lot of people lament about it, saying, I mean, this ain't like chicken pox where they're small and they may go away. These are like deep craters that are like embedded. So you're not gonna tell me, especially older people, as older we get, it's harder for our bodies to heal. When you're a baby or younger, yeah, you might be able to, a scar may heal, but can you imagine walking around with those scars all over your body and your face for the rest of your life? That's some bullshit right there. So I'm with you, Pioneer. I'm with you. Raymond says there's no reason to be okay, we read that. And Marty says, don't believe the hype. These people are not going under no circumstances to give up their guns. They probably some old guns that a lot of people are giving up so children are not hurt in the process. And then only panels wait. Am I reading these comments backwards? He says they fired Kim Harrison. I will watch The Hill. Okay, sometimes that she just got married to. Pioneer says you have to be greedy and crazy as hell not to care and be willing to work with people who have something similar to smallpox that turns people into the elephant man. Yeah, F that. I told you I suspended my gym membership. I'm like, I could work with the COVID or whatever because I wasn't really around people. And, you know, they have things that you can sanitize every machine. And I'm one of those people, I touch my face a lot. Just, you know, it's just a natural instinct. And I couldn't imagine being out in the public, hey, party over here, party over there, and somebody got monkeypox and I'm, you know, and then wham.
Well, I hope that Deanna is keeping you exercised in the house.
Oh, yes. I go to the park. I go out to the park or whatever, you know, I get my exercise on.
And you got to think about this too with the monkeypox. There won't be too many one-night stands knowing that shit's out there.
They don't care. It's going to be monkeypox all on their monkey and all kind of stuff. Shadrack, how you doing? He says, I don't know about that, sir. If your heart is ugly, it makes you ugly all over. I totally agree with you. Pioneer says, Ruby D look good, both young and old. He says, just like Nichelle Nichols and Angela Bassett. Yes, Angela Bassett is bad. Javai says, I asked Donovan what tab was, and he ignored me. I say again, what is tab?
Oh, I didn't see that thing. Okay, if you're old enough, like some of us are, Jafar, you must be a very, very young person. Tab was a very popular drink in the 70s. There's all kinds of commercials. As a matter of fact, you could YouTube it and you'll see it. And it was like a dietary soda that everybody was drinking back in the 70s.
Oh, I know what Tab is. Yeah, that was the diet drink. Do they make it anymore?
Very limited. They still make it. It's very limited though.
Yes, indeed. And Brother Samuel says, Red Fox grew up in my hometown, Ellisville, Mississippi. Okay. But he's like a hero around there, even still. Pioneer says, Queen, you're not going to look like Red Fox even when you're 80. Even when you're 80 and 90. I know, but I'm like, damn. He was, I mean, they made him look like he was 80 or 90.
And with his bad feet, it worked into the character.
But
if you guys saw the true life story of Red Fox that comes on, that little biography thing, that dude was getting wild in the 70s. They said Red Fox was having orgy parties and all kinds of stuff. He was really into Asian women. And I mean, he was getting buck wild. So
yeah, he had 2 Asian wives. Beverly, how you doing? It says Donovan looks like handsome Rollo Lamont's best friend. And he acts like him too.
I didn't steal nothing, Pops. What you talking about?
And Jan, he says, no, white supremacists came up with that word for us. Okay. And Thunder says, speaking of the collapse of society, I hope you guys are stocking up your food. Yes, indeed. We reorganized our pantry the other day. I told my daughter, I said, because we need to know what we got, right? You know, some people, they just stuff all in the pantry. And I'm one of those people, I need to be organized so I can see what I got. And I'm like, okay, so now we see what we got and what we need more of. So absolutely. There's going to be a lot of beans and rice around this mug if it go down. Or not if, but when, right? And Marty says, Donovan, I'd like to know what you think about the silencer. It's always been my favorite piece that you can put on a gun. I thought it was stupid that they would make a law in the 60s and 90s, 70s, I'm sorry, against it.
Yeah, you know, the thing about a silencer, unless you're a special agent or you're really going to murder somebody, what's the point of it? I mean, right. You don't want nobody. Yeah, you don't want nobody to hear you shooting and killing somebody. Just put a pillow over their face and shoot them. What's the big deal?
Pioneer says, well, Black folks are armed and many of them are still getting killed, brutalized, and going to jail. So the problem isn't the arms, but in the brains. All right, now. And Marty says she had a nice figure, but because she was tall and Esther when she was in her 20s. I mean, when as a teen, she wasn't bad looking, but I say right after 25, no, thank you.
Most men, we do not care if ladies, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for the brothers, but if you have a banging body, like you're an athlete or a runner or something like that, you might have an ugly face. We don't care what your face looks like if you have a banging body. That's just facts.
Mm-hmm. And hello, Artemis, how you doing? And Pioneer says, I'm not sure if COVID and the monkeypox is the will of God. I know the Bible talks about pestilence where people get sores and blisters all over them, but how do we know men aren't putting it out? I mean, they might be, but you know, one thing this white society wants, these rulers of America, if you will, they don't want to stop the money. And when they stopped the money, when the COVID was going on, that, you know, really put a kink in the chain of a lot of things in America. So the last thing I can see them doing is, now they might be putting some things out, but to that degree, they're putting out these horrible things like this. I don't want to say shit and Bible in the same sentence, so I'll back up off of that. But this stuff is of biblical proportions. Like, people are walking around with these blisters and boils and stuff. Like, I'm not a scared and nervous person, but that creeps me out, right? It just creeps me out. I mean, I'm itching even just thinking about it. You know, it's like, ugh.
You know, but here's the funny thing. Have you guys been hearing about the thing with cancer that they found? There's been 3 tests that have gone where they've cured cancer cells and stuff like that. You don't hear too much about that, but all you hear about all the pestilence. But think about everything that was curable. It isn't curable anymore. So, I mean, are we in the last days? We might just be. I mean, this is what it's all happening because nothing's working. The penicillin ain't working. Nothing's working other than abstinence and staying out of the situation.
Yes, indeed. Sydney says, why would you disarm yourselves, brothers and sisters? Yes, indeed, and welcome. And Pioneer says, there are people in power out there who read the Bible and believe that if all of the plagues and prophecies come true, then Jesus will come back sooner. So they try to make them happen. I mean, I don't know. I don't go to church. It's been a minute, like a long, like maybe like an hour in minute time that I've been to church. And I do know the Bible. I don't know how much of it is true and stuff, but, you know, it seems like some of that stuff is coming true. I mean, we got viruses all over the places. I'm personally good, right? Like, I could stay in the house and not ever have to go out.
People are lovers of themselves rather than of community and God. I mean, look at the vanity that we see on YouTube and the internet. People, you know, girls on the internet for likes. You know what I mean? It's just sad. It's just sad.
And Rain, you say, and if I didn't already, how you doing? It says, in what community would it stop? Just saying. So you talk about these monkeypox, and Thunder. He says, and the one woman who always timeless was Lena Horne. Yes, indeed.
Yep, and she guest starred on Sanford and Son. Lena Horne. Lena, let me. Fred lost his mind when Lena was on the show.
Yep. Yeah, Pamela, I'm just saying, monkeypox on the monkey. You can really, and on the elephant. So be careful. Be careful out there. So I'm gonna skip down to some of these comments a little bit so I can catch up. And Sunlight says, a diet soda before a diet Coke. Yeah, that's what Tab was. It was like the sexy drink if you wanted to be sexy. Everybody's moms was drinking Tabs and stuff to wash down their fried chicken. And Jan says, no different. African-American groups with all the infighting. Yes. And Lawrence, he says Tab was nasty. It was, but they was drinking it like it was, you know, the bomb. You know, it was going to be skinny. And Artemis says, is monkeypox a gay disease like some news media is reporting? Yeah, they're trying to say it is, but I guess they're trying to back up off of it, just labeling it an STD, because there are other people who are getting it. So you don't have to just be gay. And they said that it's mostly white men that are contracting it, white gay men rather. But you can get it from trying on clothes at the store and touching things. And some people are saying, I don't know how true this is, that could be airborne. So there's a lot going on there with the mother hugging monkeypox.
But doesn't that sound familiar as a thing called AIDS and stuff, when they were saying it's mostly gay men, and next thing you know, it was heterosexual. It can be spread through heterosexual contact, saliva, touching things. Isn't this the same scenario?
Yeah. Oh, Don, you aging yourself now. You are aging yourself now. Who's saying that? Shock the monkey.
Like Peter Gabriel. Peter Gabriel. Genesis.
Yes. You aging yourself now. Let's see here.
And speaking of Genesis, Phil Collins. Oh my God, did you see what he looked like recently? He's on his last leg.
Yeah. Oh, he's old. I thought it says Golden Bingo Halls, Denny's early bird specials, and senior trips to casinos. There you go, Donovan. And Jafia says food, water, toilet paper, stock up. Yes, indeed. Artemis says, how long are you planning on stocking up for? That's a good point. Just keep replenishing and replenishing until you can't replenish no more. I mean,
but I have a question for you guys. If the world is coming to an end, okay, like in a nuclear bomb goes off. Do you want to survive a nuclear holocaust or a plague, or do you want to get out of here as quickly as possible? If a nuclear bomb went off, I would want to be caught up in the nuclear blast myself. That way it's instantaneous. I'm up out of here. This plague, I'm not saying, don't kill yourself, whatever. That ain't what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, think about that, though. Do you really want to, you keep stocking up to survive? I mean, Planet of the Apes, maybe? I don't know. What's going to happen?
Yeah, y'all giving me anxiety with this. Do I want to go on a nuclear bomb, or do I want to stay and fight the zombies? Like, I don't know.
Right.
All right, Rex said the purpose of a silencer is to protect your hearing. Got you. All right, so, and Jeremy says Red Fox was putting extra curricular medications in his body, which sped up his aging. Oh,
yeah.
He
was a prolific. I think I'm not sure if it was heroin or cocaine, but I know he did use drugs.
Yes, indeed. And Thunder says, well, I understand your point, Donovan, but some people say that they want it in case they shoot inside their homes and it won't injure their ears. This is a narrative that I hear from certain people. Got you. And Brother Samuel says, LaWanda Page had a raunchy mouth as well as Red Fox. You should YouTube their routines. Yep, absolutely. See, I'm glad somebody knows something. And the Pioneer says, I'm not sure what you're talking about, Donovan. A banging body does not override an ugly face. A plain or slightly disfigured one, yes, but not an unusual ugly one. Y'all wowed it.
I'm sorry. If a woman's got a banging body and she's a brick house, I really don't care what her face looks like. I really don't care.
Okay. And Jafia says, D, perhaps it's in the Bible, but anything, something can go into a dormant state and then return again. We know that was a lab created. That's why Ebola disappeared for now. And that's what they say. I'm not saying that a lot of these things aren't made in labs. It's possible. I just don't have a science degree. I'm terrible in science. I'll tell y'all a story about my science experience one day. But anything's possible. I'm not saying none of this stuff is true. I'm game for anything at this point. And Jan Michael, he says a short on water, but doing well. Okay. So you're talking about in Vegas? Yeah, Vegas, they got jacked up. Mike Nice.
And the funny thing is, Jan, that you talk about the water. Yeah.
Oh, you cut out. Mike Nice, how you doing? And Brother Sammy says, is this little Lamont Lena Horne? So that was she on the Sanford and Son?
She got started on Sanford and Son. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Fred got that kiss and was just like, oh.
Yeah. And I know Bill Cosby or, Dr. Huxtable, he loved Lena Horne as well. So she was that girl, right? That woman, I should say. Honeydew, how you doing? And let's see, Pioneer says, come on, bro. Donovan, you beat me to it. This talk about gay white men getting it sounds like a lot, like how HIV started off, but Black folks eventually began to dominate the cases, especially in Africa. Yeah, what's really going on? And that's really who they say is affecting most is gay white men. So I don't know. And Don, you say this is only the beginning of birth pain. See, time's up. The Most High, he says, is beginning to repay those that took us into captivity. They will go into captivity towards the end of this thing. Only be courageous. Okay. And Monet, he say Phil Collins looks terrible. He's extra old now. Yeah, he's up there. And Easy says, we're all going to be walking dead, Donovan. Yeah, I mean, like I said, y'all give me anxiety. I don't want to choose. And the Finance says, I agree with you. Oops, I agree with you, King. If there's a nuclear war that destroys the U.S., you don't want to survive it. You want to go as quickly as possible and don't want to be around to suffer the radiation. Yeah, that's a lot going on. And Mona says, Philip Michael Thomas is fine and his son is gorgeous as well. Those that are African American always age better than white counterparts. That's why we are hated on so much for our skin alone. I would say that's largely true. Pioneer says, okay, what if she has a banging body but has a face like Wanda from Living Color?
Yeah, just like in one of the episodes, Tommy was going to get on it. You just cover up the face, turn out the lights. Or better yet, in Demetra's favorite show.
Market. Yeah, exactly. David.
Can we turn the lights out?
Yes, that's what Donovan wants, a butterface. And Mikey says, I'm well, thank you. And how are you? No complaints. I'm doing well. No, it's a little warm here in Houston, but no complaints. And the Pioneer says, Debbie Allen is another one who is still gorgeous, even in her 70s. Some women just have good genetics.
Yep.
Facts.
Yep. And she's been married to Norm Nixon for, I think, almost 40 years now.
They've been together for a while. And Jafai says, Cosby love light-skinned women, period. I mean, I guess,
Well, that man, that accused him of
They say that was a woman, Donovan. Okay, talk about that man. You stupid.
If you look at her picture, it's pictured. I thought it was a man.
Donna says there will be no nukes, but you will see more blood conflicts. The U.S. moving from a proxy position. The Most High has given us His plans. Those who have an ear to hear, let them hear what the Most says. The Most High. Absolutely, Pioneer says people need to understand that when scriptures talk about the end of the world, it really means the end of the white world, not our world. The end of the white world means the re-beginning of our world. That I've heard that as well. So absolutely. And only Pamela's Way says they say the monkeypox affect gay white men, but they be circulating. Yeah, right. So you show pictures of a black person's hand. Yeah, but that's what they say. Who are most affected by it is gay white men. I saw a white dude, a picture. It kind of freaked me out, which is kind of why I'm itching a little bit. He had them all right here. And I'm like,
I saw that, yeah.
What was you doing?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when you saw the picture.
What was you doing? So
None of that. I
don't want to laugh at this man's struggle because he said, and that's what they say too. They say the monkeypox hurt. They say it's hurt. The pain is excruciating.
Well, the blisters itself. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and he said he's been in quarantine for over a month now. And, he's like, it was hard to get the medicine and they had to go out of state to get it. And, whew. All right, so let me get to the bottom of these comments. And let's see here. And Jafia says, if monkeypox is spread by gay men, then Black community needs to be extra cautious as we have many. Let me add on to that, Jafia. Many downloads in our community. I just wanted to emphasize that. And the Pioneer says, wait a minute, Queen. Don't tell me you've reached the bottom of the chat already. Come on, y'all. Well, what y'all want to talk about? I'm willing to give y'all another 10, 15 minutes. What y'all want to talk about? It doesn't have to be about this. It could be about anything. We can try to find Donovan a date. Whatever it is y'all want to talk about, put it in the chat. Somebody says, who was beautiful? Lenny Kravitz's mother, Helen from the Jeffersons. Yes, nice chocolate woman.
Yeah, she was beautiful. Nice features on her. Very nice features.
Pioneer says this is the end of the Adamic world, civilization. Adam was symbolically their father. We were before Adam and Eve. Yes, indeed. Pre-Adamites. That's what you're talking about. See, my dad may not be thinking I'd be listening to him when he be talking, but he did educate me about the pre-Adamites. So I do know about that. Marty says, But I think the best of them all was Lena Horne and Dorothy Dandridge. Yes, says that's whose Guinness Book of World Records state the best looking in African community was in the 1920s through the 1950s. A white publication telling us who the most beautiful woman was in our community.
Yeah, I mean, to me, in those times, there was a lot of beautiful Black women rolling through the communities.
Absolutely. And Artemis, you say, if you had a choice, would you rather have access to water or food, or both are very important? I'm just asking.
Well, 70% of our body is water, so you will last longer with water than you will with food, because eventually your body's going to eat off itself. So, water.
I'm gonna say water too, because like Donovan said, our body will eat itself. You need water. And then when the bodies drop, you can eat them. You know what I'm saying? You become, I'm thinking worst case scenario, right? Like I'm a reborn again vegan, if you will, or plant-based. I don't really like the word vegan much. But I guess if I had to slice off some skin, I don't know, I probably would just end up dying, to be honest with you. But water, I would say water. And let's see here. Thunder says, and don't forget, some of these older Latinas are interested in Black men too. But no. We talking with Black women need the Black men. Y'all stay focused and stay your Black asses over here with us, okay? They got they man. We trying to keep our man, if you don't mind. Thank you. Javai says, Phyllis Stickley is a beautiful Black woman. I don't know who that is. Maybe I do by face, but not by name. And the Pioneer says, that's why Cain was allegedly, although the story was a myth, able to go out away from Eden and find a wife and build cities, because there were other people of color around. That's what they say, because now I saw this meme circulating talking about if Adam and Eve had, what did it say, they had 3 sons and some daughters or whatever. Are we all like they committed incest, and isn't that supposed to be a sin or something like that? So it's like some contradictions going on there, because like how did they populate the world?
Yeah, did you hear there's a meme going around asking the inbreeding of Queen Elizabeth II, because the British, that's why they have bad teeth. There's a lot of inbreeding going on, and they're trying to figure out how much inbreeding was in her.
Yes. Okay. Y'all throw some stuff in the chat. What do y'all want to talk about? Y'all want to ask us a question or two? We'll be more than happy to answer it. Only Pamela's Way says, I want to talk about the homeless camps in Miami and South Carolina, because there's something behind that. So I'm not abreast on the situation that's going on with that. So if anybody knows about what's going on with it, please fill me in. I would love to talk about what the homeless camp actually is. And maybe I should look into it. And Thoughts of the Week podcast says, do you think all of these viruses was brought on by CERN? I don't have any knowledge of that at all. And forgive my ignorance. I don't know what that is. If you could tell me. And Rex, you said, people might judge me for this, but I had a thing for both Cicely Tyson and Grace Jones. Why on earth would they judge you for that? Grace Jones is still alive and kicking. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, she's on Beyonce's new album, which I'm neither here or there with it. But she's on the album, from what I understand. But Grace Jones is a very, very beautiful woman. And Cicely Tyson was too, as Miles Davis. Yep. And let's see here. And Donnie says, but think about this. Who ran around the plane giving folks disease, including different pox? Vengeance is mine. I will repay. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. Last night I was watching a thing on YouTube about the Aztecs. And even though Cortez had a small army, what really killed all those Aztecs off was the smallpox that they brought to them.
Yes, indeed. And Pioneer says, absolutely, our people, Black people, are the pre-Adamites. We were born before Adam, but the church tries to demonize pre-Adamites and call them devils and demons. The Bible never said that, though. Come on with the knowledge, brother. And Javai says, that's because they were both damn near white themselves. And let's see, Moni says, so what the monkeypox I've seen that in California has over 700 cases, and Texas has 450 9 cases as of Sunday, and it's more in Houston. Yes, it's true. And in Dallas. Demetri, hope you consider moving ASAP. No excuses. I just don't go out the house, and I don't have anybody coming in my house at all other than my daughter, you know, just us. So I think I'm okay. You know, I don't, like I said, I try to stay in the house, and unfortunately, I think we're going to become like sheltered people. I don't want that, and I pray every day that I don't get that. Pioneer says, I said it time and time again, white folks will tell you a lie, but when you find out the truth for yourself, they'll run ahead of you with it and try another lie to keep you in deception. Very true. Eli, how you doing? Only Poundless Way says, there's a cat again. Yes, Donovan's cat is it. Was your cat nodding his head?
You know, it's almost like he has to get his camera time, some money. I don't know what it is, but he has to get the camera time.
Got you. Lawrence say, stay black. I love my black women. You better tell them. And William says, you can have me, Demetri. Okay. I'm taking notes. And Thunder says, okay, I'll stay home. And Don says, stop trying to give us away. That's unlawful. Yes. Y'all stay right here. I forbid you to go anywhere else. But
well, then y'all need to start getting on some act right, okay? Start acting right.
But we could be here for a very long time with that one, okay, brother? Pioneer says, for centuries they taught us, they thought there was nobody before Adam. They claimed the earth and Adam were created in the same week. We proved that was false. Then they changed it to Adam. There were beings, okay? It says before Adam's with great civilizations, but then they said we're actually devils and demons. Liars. Gotcha. And Marcus, I believe this is you. It says Facebook users. He says, and please let us not go without acknowledging the passing of Bill Russell. Yep, we did earlier. He says, and let us not deny him his real legacy of racial abuse in America. They will call him a great American now that he's gone, when he was once an enemy to racism and the victim of it, hatred. Yep, that's how they do. Say same thing with Muhammad Ali and you know, everybody else. Malcolm X, he was enemy number one, and now you could go buy his T-shirts at Target. You know, so come on. And Brother Sammy says, have you talked about Brittany Griner? So from what I understand, the United States has said, okay, we will give you back Victor Bout. That's the arms dealer that's doing 25 years over here. If you give us Brittany and the Marine that's over there. From what I understand, I guess Russians are getting back to them with that offer. But now I think Russia also wants somebody else that's a murderer or that we have over here too. So
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because like Brittany Griner wouldn't want to stand for the American flag, and that's her right or whatever the deal is. So, you know, you hate America, but I bet you now, America has its problems, but I'm going to tell you guys, I've traveled the world and we are still the best thing going. Now, this woman admitted she did what she did, blaming all this other stuff, and I didn't know whatever, even though you said you packed your own bag, you admitted to the guilt. I mean, just let it play out. I mean, you know, you've been going there for 7 years. You knew what you were doing. I mean, what I hate about this, and this is what I hate when Americans travel abroad, because we bring that ugly American syndrome with us. Oh, they didn't read me my rights properly. They didn't do this. You're not in America. They don't have to do anything. You don't have any rights in these other countries. So remember this, you guys, when you go to other countries, you do not have the same rights as if you do in America. You are a guest in that country and you are abide by those rights.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think we're past that. I think she probably knows that now. I don't think she deserves to do 10 years, but you know, it all really remains to be seen. And Thunder says, what do you think about the Democrats running scared this election? I think that they should be running scared. They deserve to be running scared, especially when it comes to Black people, because you haven't done anything for your most loyal voter. And so you should be running scared. I mean, I think that not only should they be running scared, I think that most of them should have to get up out of their seats and give somebody else a chance to really do something. And I'm speaking about Black people, because everybody else, they are getting a piece of the pie. But until Black people are better served because we are their most loyal voters and they cannot get in office without us, yeah, I think they should be running scared, and I think they need to be voted out of there.
Obviously, you guys haven't been paying attention. Chuck Schumer just passed with Joe Manchin a bill that's going to give health care and all these great things. Isn't it funny that when their back is to the fire, they can miraculously pass things, and Joe Manchin gets on board, and it's going to do all these great things, the infrastructure bill and all the stuff that's going to happen. That recently happened Friday under the newscast.
Did they say anything about reparations, brother?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
What reparations? What reparations?
Right. So that's what I'm talking about. Neo Beta, he says Grace Jones like white men. Yes, she does. And Damon, oh, you putting your age out there. Pull up to my bumper, baby.
Slave to the rhythm.
All of that. I won't sing the rest of the song because it's a little dirty. And you say Neo Beta, she's obsessed with white men. Okay. And the Pioneer says Sissy Tyson wasn't a bad looking sister, but Grace Jones looked too much like a man to me. And it's not because she's dark skinned, because Angela Bassett is the same color, but just looks better to me. Yeah, Grace Jones she's got the chiseled features, if you will. So yeah,
we got to remember she's from the islands, Jamaica, so she has those Jamaican features. Remember, Grace Jones was also a top model for a long time. She was a big model as well as a performer.
She looks a lot like her brother Noel. And let's see, Jackie says Ukraine refugees are here in Decatur, Georgia, free apartment money, etc. I'm pissed, but we got homeless camps.
Right. And also today, Friday, Joe Biden sent another $270 million to Ukraine.
Yes, indeed. Sunlight, I want to really take your question. He says, why are people ashamed to acknowledge beautiful, dark-skinned women? Grace Jones and Cicely Tyson were beautiful. Yeah, nobody should ever be ashamed to acknowledge dark-skinned women at all. Dark-skinned women are very beautiful. I've always wished that I was darker, and sometimes I do lay out in the sun and let the sun go try to get me as black as possible, but it doesn't necessarily work. But there's nothing wrong with admitting that. It's almost like going to I like dark-skinned women anonymous, right? Don't tell nobody. But they, say it loud. Shoot. Finance and Brother Donovan, I'm getting a little jealous of you with that cat. Laugh out loud. All of the affection he's showing you. Laugh out loud. Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing, this is the feral cat. So I guess he realizes, hey, man, you got me out of a really bad situation. I appreciate it. My other two cats, you never see them. You never see my other two cats.
And Marnie says that a dermatologist can get rid of that retin A if you catch it while it's fresh, and can dissolve itself in about a year and not more than 5 years. Dimitri, you should know this as a cosmetologist. But you know what? Who the hell want to be walking around with that for a year to 5 years? I don't want that at all. I don't want to be looking like no. I just don't want it. So yeah, retin A can do a lot, but I am not waiting for 1 to 5 years to get rid of the polka dots. And David says, all hail to the no, Jackie. Okay. And Don says, Dimitri, I was meditating on that very thing last night, and I came to the same conclusion. The thing is that book was written about a specific people and their beginning from the beginning. Got you. Roxy Roker is the name of Lenny Kravitz's mama. And only Pamela's Way says the governor supposedly has a plan with helping the homeless, but it seems strange to just now to want to do something about the homeless, since homelessness has been happening forever. Yeah, I mean, they still have to answer how you're going to bring all these people over from other countries, and you got homeless people in America sleeping on the streets.
But have you guys noticed, though, even at the local level, when the homeless issue is the issue, there's never any money for it. They have no plan to solve it. All the money that they've sent to all these other countries and all these other things, don't you guys think even $1 billion, California spends $1 billion to deal with the homeless issue, and it isn't solved yet?
Right. And Artemis, he says, where are some good places for African Americans to relocate? I understand that the South has potential for us. That's what they say is the South, because that's where most of us are. So let me go to some of these other comments that actually have some questions. And Marcus, he says, I've been thinking over and over about the voting thing and about how we vote down ballot, but in the end, have we ever been successful even voting down ballot, or do we always get corrupted or compromised, which begs the question, is there any real hope for us here? You've asked a really good question. A lot of people
well, let me answer that for you. See, here's our problem. Once we get somebody in there like a Maxine Waters or a Sheila Jackson Lee, okay, they get there, right? Well, they just wait. What was the first thing when Biden got in office? He called those Biden bootlegs. Well, he just got there. Give him some time, whatever. This lady's been in office for 30 years, has nothing to show for it. So what we got to start doing is, I don't care if you're in there for 2 years. If you don't show me anything specific for Black people or the people of your district, you got to go. And did you guys hear? The Democrats have come up with a plan to limit Supreme Court justices. No more lifetime appointments. They're talking about 18 years and a senior position. They've got this all thing going. And guess what? They're going to try to codify it into law. So they can do it if they want to. Now, isn't it funny how they want to put term limits on Supreme Court people, but they're not talking about putting term limits on themselves? Isn't that strange?
Yes, indeed. So Pioneer says, Lauryn Hill is dark-skinned woman. I think she's darker than Grace Jones, but she's very beautiful, hands down. It's about their features. So Pioneer said, I'm not saying it was because they're dark. I'm saying about their features. So now I got you. Only Pamela's Way says, Miami is directing $3.1 million federal funds toward homeless shelters. It's called Functional Zero Homelessness, Virginia Key. Okay, I have to research that. I haven't heard anything about it, but yeah, I don't have an opinion about it, but yeah, I think they should be helping the homeless people in general. There shouldn't be homeless people on the streets, and they're helping everybody else. So I totally agree with you. Let's see here. And I'm at the bottom, so y'all don't have any more questions. We're going to get out of here. And Jackie says, yes, but Mark, I want for that too.
Yeah, Marcus says, but doesn't it say a lot there when it comes to Brittany Griner or any of our Black people? We have no one in power and with the right influence to ever help us anywhere. Our hands are always tied. But let me ask you this. Do you think that if Donald Trump was in office right now and a high octane person like Brittany Griner, do you think he would get her out? He got A$AP Rocky out. He got one of the Ball kids out. But here we are, Democrat, and she even wrote to Joe Biden and said, I voted for you. And he's sitting on his hands trying to get her out. And Kamala, sisterhood is silent. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and she voted for Biden the first time she's ever voted in her life. And I'm assuming she voted as a referendum to Trump. So the very guy that would have probably gotten you out because, you know, him and Putin are like that, you know, would have gotten you out, you voted against him because you believe the hype. I'm not saying Trump is a good dude, but he's a lot better than what we've got. So she voted against her better interest. Why? I don't know. I mean, maybe she had her reasons, but voted against her better interest. And by now, Trump would have had her home and playing basketball and whatever else she does in her day living. And yes, Brother Sammy says, you can't talk about beautiful and leave out Thelma from Good Times. Yeah, she's done some new movie. I saw her film.
Yeah, I saw the previews of it too. Yes, and Thelma's the same age as my mama.
She's I don't think Thelma's in her 70s. I think she's 60.
Yes, she is. She's 73 years old. Yes, she
is. 73 years old?
Yes, she is. She's the same age as my mom. No, 72. I'm sorry, 72. She's 72 years old.
Wow. Okay. And let's see here.
Now that's the kind of older woman I would date.
And Neo Beta says she would have been out if Trump been in office. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really an argument. And yes, only Pamela's Way say the same thing. Pioneer says another beautiful dark-skinned sister is that Haitian woman who Biden just hired to be White House's press secretary. I think that's a beautiful sister. Her being a lesbian doesn't matter. Yeah, she's pretty.
Got her features. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, she's from Haiti, just like Cindy.
And Eli says, so effing true. And Artemis says, thank you, Donovan. Our leaders staying too long. Maxine Waters and Big Jim are in their 80s. It is our fault we don't hold them accountable. Yes, indeed. Somebody says, no, she's not. A Neo Beta says, Thelma is also married to a white man. Is she really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I know she's been married 3 or 4 times now. I know that.
So they're saying Thelma's in her 60s. That's what I thought. I didn't think she was in her 70s.
Look it up again. She's 72 years old. I know that for a fact.
Okay, I'm finna look. Let's see how old Bernadette Stannis is. 68. Why we got to go to Google and everybody tell you she not?
Wait a minute. Not everything on the internet is true. She's lying about her age. She's 72 years old.
Brother, just take that L, brother. Take that L.
She's 72 years old. I could be her
not
son.
Freaking 72. She's in her late 60s.
Okay, I'll take that. But just because it's on Google doesn't mean it's true.
You just... Let me get to the rest of these comments. Get to the rest of these comments. And Don, you say... Oh, and Pioneer says Janet Dubois is still alive, isn't she? No, she just passed a couple of years ago. Y'all know who her daddy is or was?
Duke Ellington.
Cab Calloway.
Sorry, Cab Calloway.
Cab Calloway was her father, but they kept it a secret. I guess she was like a love child type of thing, but he did hire her as one of his showgirls and stuff. But yeah, that was his daughter.
So wait. So let me get this straight. When I hear older people, especially our parents, the civil rights era people, complaining about these young people and the girls having a hot summer and all this other stuff, you mean to tell me when they were younger, they were doing the exact same thing, if not even more?
Having hot girl summers?
Yeah, for their time. They were busting it open like that,
But the thing is, back then, women often had a lady never kisses and tells. Now they all up on the internet talking about who they sucked and everything else last night and who they gonna do.
Enjoying my OnlyFans. You can pay me, you can see it.
Women, as my dad always says, they didn't talk all up under their clothes. I mean, I'm not saying women weren't a little on the looser side back then, but it wasn't for the word. They weren't proud of it, right? It was some shame in being that. But now people just don't care. It's just like, hell yeah, I had a roster in my bedroom last night, and they're proud about it, right? So I don't know. Yeah, Donovan around here, Damon, he moonwalking. Just take the L, brother. Take the L. You was wrong. And Jafai says, look up Phyllis Yvonne Stickley. Okay, I will. Yes, Cab was Jeanette.
Wait a minute.
Father.
You don't know who Phyllis Yvonne Stickley is?
I mean, I might know her by face, but who is she?
Beautiful dark sister that was in Spike Lee's movie with Wesley Snipes, Jungle Fever. She was the dark sister.
Oh,
and she was also the dark sister in Malcolm X.
Yes. Didn't she pass not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken?
I'm not sure. A lot of people have been passing that, you don't really hear about super high.
Yes, very beautiful chocolate sister. Yes. And the Pioneer says, yes, I'm surprised Cab Calloway was her father. Laugh out loud. Yeah, they kept secrets back then. And Only Pamela's Way says, with these homeless shelters, do you think they're do like they did in Germany? I'm not abreast of what they did.
Yeah, in Germany. No, they can't really do that here in the United States. But yet, what's the difference, right?
Right. And Sunlight wants you to know, yes, for generations, they have been having sex. Just so you know, okay? And Neo Beta, he says they were throwing their draws on stage at Cab Calloway and James Brown. Laugh out loud. Don't believe the hype. Laugh out loud. They were thoughts too. I'm not saying they wasn't thoughts, but I'm saying you didn't really know that. Women.
Yeah, but what's crazy is if they were doing it when they were younger, why are they hollering and screaming about how these younger girls are acting in the modern day?
Because I mean, I'm not saying it was right either way, and I'm not saying it didn't exist. You see, y'all got me itching up in this mug. But there was people were more discreet back then. Now, perhaps it's because they didn't have the internet and those type of things, but there was shame in it. Like, you guys, I'm one of those people. I love old Hollywood, right? I study old Hollywood. I just do. On my day off, which is Saturday, maybe Friday, I sit up and I watch old Hollywood black and white movies, and then I'll Google everything about the people and stuff. And so I say all that to say is that even in Hollywood, back in the day, you being rumored to be a whore or a thought or any of that would have ruined your career. And so they weren't out in the open, which is why you had these expose magazines hiding out in bushes with their cameras back in the day, trying to catch people in salacious situations and things. But they have to dig for that. Nowadays in Hollywood, everybody's a hooker, or man or women, everybody's just out there. But even back, let's take it from Hollywood. Back then, our parents and our grandparents, there was shame to that. Even in churches, if they knew you were a loose person, usually it was a woman, because the man of the pastor, he was loose. They didn't care about that. But if they found you to be a loose woman, they excommunicate you from the church. You're kicked out of the church because they didn't want your kind corrupting the flock, even though the pastor was corrupting the flock. So what I'm saying is there was shame. There's shame in that behavior. But now I was like, it's shame if you ain't like that. Oh my God, you're a prude. It's like, well, I thought that used to be a good thing. I don't know. So what do y'all have to say about this? And Amoni said, Demetra, should never be a time at 52 years old or age that you don't know Bible thoroughly through and through. This is your time to get saved, repent, or burn in hell, your choice. Now, sister, you know that I've sat on here 2 times and told y'all that I have 2 degrees from a Baptist college, plus I spent a copious amount of time in the church, plus born into the Nation of Islam. I know the Bible, but I keep asking y'all, and I'm waiting for somebody to answer. Moni, I'm going to direct this question at you and you only. If there's a hell below, how do you know? And if there's a heaven so great, why aren't you there? Why are you still here? Why aren't you not in heaven? And I also want you, since you know the Bible, what does God say are the ways to come home? And if you know those things, why haven't you asked to go home to heaven, where the streets of gold and all this other stuff exists? I want you to answer that. And Pioneer says, wait, y'all talking about the black woman that Italian dude was trying to holler at in that movie? Oh, no, you talking about Joie Lee. Joie Lee is Spike Lee's sister, but in Jungle Fever, she was married to Wesley Snipes.
No. That was the light-skinned girl in Jungle Fever. Yeah. Remember, it was the light-skinned chick, but she was in the group talking.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, so she's played in, she was just in something I watched not too long ago. She was in
Malcolm X. She was the black sister, and she was in New Jack City as the district attorney.
Yeah. Got you. Okay, and so Jackie says, get that old lady to make recovering them to the, I don't know what that is. And everybody loves Jerome. How you doing? Says a song called Mr. Big
Take the L. They wanted me to take the L. Jackie said,
got
me take the L.
Yeah. Artemis says, are you guys familiar with United Nations Article 21, deportation control? Not too familiar. And with that, and Thoughts of the Week podcast, it says 30s, 40s, and 50s, 60s thoughts. There was some thoughts, but you didn't know about it. You didn't know Sister So-and-so also had another life. You ain't know that because she
especially in the 60s when everything was about free love and stuff. That's when all these women started having multiple children and baby daddies. And you had the movie like Claudine talking about the single mothers and all this other stuff. And again, I concede it isn't because of the government programs that made the single black woman go against her man. It was the lack of the government shipping factory jobs out of the country. That was the main stickler of why black men started leaving their homes. Not a good enough excuse, though, but still.
And Brother Sam, you're absolutely right. He says it was a moral code back then. Lucy and Desi couldn't sleep in the same bed. And girls that got pregnant had to apologize in church. And in fact, they didn't even say the word pregnant on TV for a very long time. So you're absolutely right. And Pioneer says, when I was a kid up until my early 20s, I preferred light-skinned women, but like all shades. But now I prefer dark-skinned African women. Turn me on to make the change. Okay.
Yeah. My mom's mother was a very dark-skinned woman, and I've always had a thing for dark-skinned women. I don't know what it is. If I had a choice between a light-skinned woman, let's say like a Beyonce type, which I think Beyonce, I could have a V8. She looks average to me. I will take a dark-skinned woman because I think their skin is like flawless. You don't see any scars on them. They're like perfect. So.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to get down to the bottom for real. Only Pamela's Way says so true that all SMs just telling their business and no need and need to settle down. What's an SM? I'm sorry.
I would assume it's single mothers. I don't know.
Single moms. Okay, got it.
Single moms, yeah.
Okay, got it. And Jafai says, one man's hell is another man's heaven. Yes, indeed. Sunlight says, no, now Joie Lee is beautiful. Very beautiful. Very beautiful eyes. And I love about Spike Lee is that he put his family in all of his stuff, from his dad who composed his music, and now I think it's his cousin Malcolm Lee. He's a director and all of that kind of stuff. And his sister was. I love their family dynamics completely. And Jeremy says that's why Diana Ross and the Supremes had that song called "Love Child." Yes, okay. And Pioneer says Wally. Oh no, she doesn't look very good to me.
Right
okay.
Now, wait. Did Diana Ross have that song "Love Child" because her and Berry Gordy had a baby?
How would you know? Because they didn't tell you. Yes, I was tricking with her husband. I sure was, girl. I'm proud to be the side piece. You'll never know. That song will be a mystery until they die and forever after that. So, Pioneer, you don't think that Wally is beautiful? Okay. Mo Better Blues is one of my favorite movies. Matter of fact, I think I might watch that tonight as I fall asleep. And Neo Beta says we are already in hell. Hell is a condition, not a place. People have a purgatory mixed up with what people call hell. Okay. Thunder says, question, did you finish the platforms of resolution paper? Not quite, but I will. I promise you. I promise, I will finish. Our brother Samuel says, Satan has legalized perversion and made laws to protect it. Satan on his last leg and pulling out all the stops. I feel it's all coming to a head and the boil is about to burst and the body is about to release the white pus. Yes. Called monkeypox. I'm just playing. Absolutely. Very well described there. And Don says, approve my Facebook friend request, Demetra K. Okay, so is it under the same name? Because sometimes, and admittedly, I'm not on Facebook a lot, but yeah, I will go and look. So just let me know if it's under the same name, and I will be more than happy to do that. And Pioneer says, even before the removal of the good-paying manufacturing jobs at the Black neighborhoods, another thing that destroyed the Black family was encouraging both parents to work. No more mothers at home. I totally agree with you. And Jafia says, I agree with Donovan. I don't think Beyonce is exceptional. They said that I didn't, Beehive. And Thunder says, question, Don, are you really thinking about becoming a Silver Surfer with the older ladies?
Hey, I've always said, like that lyric by Big Daddy Kane, I date him from 18 to 80, dumb, crippling, crazy.
Yes, he needs to try something. Otherwise, he's going to die. What did Kevin Samuel say?
Get a dog and die. Right. And I've got the dog. And I've got the dog.
And cats. Now you need some real cat. And Neo Beta says, I like all Black women, period, as Black men. As a Black man, I'm sorry, only Black women qualify for my heart. Yes, indeed, baby. And only Pamela's Way says, I said people be all on social media. Got you. That's SM social media. Duh. Telling their business. Yeah, and it's like, where's the shame? And Jafia says, that's what I think too, Donovan. And Artemis says, depopulation control, where they are saying that there are too many people on the planet, United Nations Article 21. Okay, I am familiar with that. Okay, and let's see here. And Jan says, Africa is the best thing going. Yes, indeed. And everybody know it but us. And Pioneer says, that's this. It may sound sexist to say, but when they started letting women work in the factories to make their own money to support themselves, they no longer needed men. No reason to stay married to men. Well, I don't know about that. We know that women actually started working in the factories to support the war efforts. Was it World War I, World War II? You know, World War II, Rosie the Riveter, that's where that came in because she was in the factories because the men all went off to war. So that's kind of where that came into play. Hello, fat son. How you doing? And so Don Antonio Poison. I think that's what I will look for you as soon as we get off here. Pioneer says, I'm not sure what to say because I support the woman's right to work and support herself. I recognize that unless women rely on their men for support, they are more likely to leave. And Marty says, it goes something like this, Donovan, you better stock up if you don't know, if you know what's good for you. The numbers here in Michigan are starting to go back up and they have never been back down. I'm surprised. Okay.
Same thing here in Riverside County. Yeah, the numbers never went down.
Yeah, so in the meantime, I'm going to stay in the house, y'all. I mean, I just don't want to be out there getting none of that. So I'm going to stay home and all of that. Artemis, you think I'm funny? I really don't be trying to be funny, y'all. Jafia says, what do y'all think about the Caribbean Connection officer who shot and killed the kid with the gel gun? I am not familiar with that story. I am so sorry.
Yeah, I haven't heard that yet. I haven't heard about it yet.
For the weekend, I just check out. I'm telling you what I did yesterday. Nothing. I actually watched. I watched TV, which was like Netflix and Hulu and that kind of stuff, all day long. And when I say all day, I moved my ass from the couch to the kitchen, back to the couch, to the kitchen like 5 times, and I did not work out.
Yeah, what I usually do on the weekend, starting Friday, I get off social media and I try to go enjoy life.
Yes. And apparently says, yes, sis, that's correct. They started letting women into the factories to replace the men in World War II, but they noticed that women were more agreeable, didn't complain as much, and demanded more money. And we've been stuck in those factories ever since. And Don says Christianity is the greatest deception spoken of in ancient writings. Where'd it go? Of the elders from the Most High. Okay, and Moni says you can come to Michigan where the numbers are not that high and always cooler breeze. I love brown sugar. Man, I can take you on from here and we can go on and live in Saint Martinique or Paris. Donovan, that sounds like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, but I got a question for the fellas out there. Hey, fellas, have you noticed that these new modern women, and I'm not talking about you, Moni, that one of their requirements is traveling? And there's a, when you guys get off the show right now, look up this one girl where she was doing the city girl thing and she flew out here to LAX. The guy, she didn't want to give up those cheeks. So the guy dropped her ass back off at the airport and canceled her ticket.
Was that a prerequisite for her flying out?
No. And he said so, right? But why is it though? They had been talking every day, whatever. He showed her stuff, his stuff or whatever. So why is it that it's okay to use his resources? And so he said, well, that's fine. You buy your own ticket back home. I got you out here. You buy your own ticket back home. So there's no prerequisite for me to have to send you back.
Y'all gonna make a sister go into overtime with this nonsense. Overtime. Double overtime with this nonsense. So you mean to tell me that he flew her out, in your words, and didn't ask her before he booked the ticket, hey, is we getting horizontal or not? He didn't ask her, and he flew her.
I think it was implied.
No. It needs to be expressed, brother, not implied.
I agree.
It needs to be expressed. So you mean to tell me this thing calling himself a man flew this woman out, and she didn't want to have sex with him, and so he left her stranded?
Well, again, let's put the onus on where the onus needs to be. What woman in her right mind will accept to be flown out from wherever she came from and not expect to drop the cheeks or what? And it's not a prerequisite. I'm not saying that, but why would a woman put herself in that position?
So let's deal with one thing at a time, because now we gonna get to there. Y'all, this is the overtime. Bear with us. I love y'all.
Yeah, we're in overtime. Let's go. We got 2 minutes. Let's go.
2 minutes. I would
2 minute drill.
I mean, let's just deal with this, okay? This is the one thing at a time. He flew that woman out there.
Right.
When he discovered that he was not getting any, he left her stranded.
No, he took her back to the airport and dropped her off and said, have a nice day.
Did she get home? Or did he have a return ticket home?
No, he canceled the ticket that he had for her to go back. Yeah.
And somehow, why is he not being labeled a horrible person?
Well, again, women want equality. So why would you use up this man's resources and not think you're going to give up the cheeks?
I'm trying to get my head around this. When did money get made equal to you being able to partake of my body?
No, exactly. No, I agree with you on that. But again, no harm, no foul. He is not obligated to send her back. Not at all. She has her own money. She makes her own stuff. It is what it is, right?
So why didn't he just go get him a hooker? Why did he fly
I don't know.
all the way out there? It was all about the sex.
Yeah, I don't know. But what I'm saying is, when I saw this before we came on the show, I was like, what woman would get on a plane and do what the city see? And the ladies, I'm going to tell you guys this, not you ladies that are responding. Talk about if you got daughters or nieces or something like this. This city girl shit will get you in trouble. That girl could have been killed. She don't really know this man. You met him on IG or whatever the deal is. Stop flying to places where you can't control the situation. You had this man flown out. He's using his resources. He could have gone berserk on her and killed her. You know what I mean? So again, why would this woman put herself in that position? I don't know.
I'm gonna just say this as a lady, okay?
Sure.
I'm gonna put myself in that lady's situation.
Sure.
Okay. First of all, I don't think anybody should fly anywhere to meet anybody. She should have made him come to her. She should have went to him. He should have came to her where she is, first of all. But let's say I did go to him. I'm not going to go to him without a way back, because I might not, let's say I got there and he surprised me with, well, we smashing. And I said, hell to the no. Then I'll be like, okay, great. Just leave me here. Let me, I'll go home or whatever I need to do. So I would have had a way back. But I guess I'm kind of flabbergasted because maybe just me. Where are the men that would at least say, you know what? I don't want to spend time with you because my ulterior motive was really just to smash, but I'm not going to be indecent and leave you stranded per se, right? I'm going to send you back or whatever the deal was, but to say because I didn't get to screw you, now all bets are off. And so to me, that just exposes him as to who he really was in the first place. You didn't want anything else from me but the smash, which is why I asked, why not just go on what I don't know where the hookers hang out at, but go there instead of flying a woman away from where she was to screw her.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I'm not saying you're wrong in your aspect, but again, why would a woman fly out to a man she doesn't really know, she might not be sexually attracted to, and do that? Why, this man's spending money. I don't know how much he spent. That's irrelevant. But the point is, a lot of these women are listening to these city girls and putting themselves in dangerous situations. I put the onus on her to be stupid like that and think that a man is going to spend that type of money and you're not going to clap cheeks.
I mean, yeah, I guess really what we should be doing is informing women that don't, and I'm one of those women. I'm one of those women. I will not allow a man to spend money on me if I'm not interested in him. And I'm not even talking about sexually interested in him, because I got to know that I'm interested in you first before I'm sexually interested in you. But if I'm not interested in you at all, I'm not going to allow you to spend any money on me, taking me out on dates and none of that kind of stuff, because in some regards, I know that you're looking for something more that I'm not trying to give you. However, I just want to hope that I don't know any man that would do that to a woman to say, because you are not giving me sex, then I am going to treat you horribly. Now, was it his responsibility? Yes. If he bought her a ticket there and a ticket back, it was his responsibility to make sure she got back safely, even though she did not give him sex. And so I hope that women, and I'm going to put it out there, that a lot of women are listening to this, for one, and I said on both sides, do not let a man spend money on you that you are not interested in. And also be on the lookout for a man. Ask him this question. If I fly out there, because most of y'all Negroes ain't going to tell the truth. Let's keep it real. If you fly me out there, are you expecting something sexual from me?
Thank you.
But this is the thing. Most of y'all ain't going to tell the truth. Oh, no, baby, I just want to get to know you. I just want to see, most of y'all going to say that. Some men might say, well, yeah, I'm just down to smash. Then you'll know before you allow him to book that plane ticket. But women, take notes that there's a lot of men, I don't say a lot, but there's some men out there that are only spending money on you with the premise of getting what's underneath your skirt.
Exactly. And it seems to me in this situation from the video that I saw, they really didn't know each other. They just met each other on in the DMs. You know, you don't really know that man. Why are you flying yourself out there to be killed? Possibly, you know?
True. But why are you flying her out there to just have sex with you? And then when she tells you no, then you get back, how you get back and all that other.
Well, that's what these younger kids are doing. They don't really know each other. Remember, like you were saying, like what you were describing is people who have like got to know each other. It seems like to me that these people were just in each other's DMs. And hey, yeah, come on, girl, come on out. You know, we could kick it, you know, yeah. And then he comes there. He's under the illusion of one thing. And no, she's not obligated to do a damn thing. I'm with her on that. But at that point, you know, lady, you should have money to make sure you get back or whatever the situation is. You know, don't be using guys' resources and think that, you know, it is what it is. You want to be equal. Welcome to equality. Get back on your own.
And absolutely above, beyond forever. That yes, accountability is on both sides. And I hope I was clear with that. Yeah. But like I said, I'm just one of those women. I'm not going to allow a man to spend money on me if I'm not interested in him, and none at all. We can be very good friends, you know. And I say that to say, if I know he's interested in me and I'm not interested in him, I'm not going to do that, because what that does is it does set up false expectations. Okay, well, she's coming out to dinner with me, or she's allowing me to do this. And then when he goes in for the, you know, I don't want to say kill because that's negative, but hey, this is what I'm expecting. And I say, is you crazy? No, you know, then other things take place. And so, yeah, it was both of their responsibilities.
Yeah, look up the video. It just dropped early this morning, and I saw it, and I was like, what the hell? And again, I'm just speaking for the lady. We know what men are about. You know, some shitty ass men are about. I'm saying for the ladies, stop listening to these Meg the Stallions and all this other stuff. A man will not fly you to some place without expecting something. It's just a fact, unless it's made clear up front. So I'm with Sunlight and Demetra, unless it's clear up front. Because you're going to find yourself stuck somewhere. And you see videos of like this all the time that are hitting the internet now, where these girls are getting stuck in places and they're like, oh, that man ain't shit. That man ain't shit. Well, what the hell, lady, are you doing flying out to a man and you don't have resources for yourself? A good example, last year, the NBA, that girl that got stuck out there, the NBA All-Star game. Ladies, stop this bullcrap. Just stop it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think we should be teaching our daughters to, first of all, I mean, don't fly out with nobody you don't know. Like I said, he should be coming to you. You shouldn't be flying to him. But I can't remember who it was. Somebody said, stop expecting free stuff. Yeah, and there's a lot of women out there, and Donovan and I have talked about this a lot of times. Yeah. There's a theory of a girl's got to eat. And so there's when I tell you, you guys are going to be shocked. But my daughter and I are going to be doing a live. She wants to bring her millennial expertise, if you will, to the conversation. We're going to be talking about relationships and stuff. So I asked her, I said, do you want to do a podcast or you want to do it live? She goes, I'll do it live. I'll try it live to see how it goes. And so we're going to be doing that in the near future so we can have more of these type of conversations. But yeah, we need to be teaching our daughters to stop, like you said, going out there expecting a free lunch, because you know, especially if you're letting a man spend that kind of money on you, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So anyway, Thoughts of the Week podcast says, Demetra, what do you say about them women who get flued out to Dubai and get boo-booed on? Yes, I'm just
yikes.
I just started hearing about that. Yeah.
Everybody has a price. Everybody has a price.
Yeah, they letting these men do that to them for like $10,000 a weekend.
Yeah,
and then they make
sometimes 40,000. Yeah, every hole.
Yeah, that's what I think about it. And Brother Sammy says, my dad always told his children, 7 girls and 4 boys. Woo! Always carry you.
Yes.
Your travel fare back home. Yeah, my mom always say the same thing.
Yeah, remember back in the day, your mom would always tell you, always have money to make a phone call. At least have that to make a phone call.
Hello, Frank. How you doing? All right, so yeah, we could be here forever. You know, oh Lord, Sunlight says, hold up, Donovan. You gotta let her on the loose. Hold up, are you gonna let her on the loose, Donovan?
It's talking about Deanna. Deanna, it's gonna be on me.
Yes. So
I'll eat Deanna's lunch. Is she there right now?
No, she's not. Because that's why you
Is
knew she wasn't here.
Thank
That's
God.
why
I'd eat her lunch. Yeah. You know, she ain't nothing. I'd take her.
And I love this. We'll end with this. The Thoughts of the Week podcast says you got to ask, what's the constructive result we're going to have if we link up? Yes. What's the purpose of because I would ask that if a man was going to fly me out to him, okay, why? Am I going to have my own space? Are we sharing a room? Like, what are your expectations, right? I think that's important. I think any woman, and the girls that are doing this, they mamas and they grandmamas need they backside kicked for not teaching them better. Because like Brother Samuel said, we were all taught, I know I was as a woman, always have your way back home and have some money in your purse in case you need to make a phone call. That's when we was dropping money in the pay phones way back home in case the date doesn't go right. So you were absolutely 100% correct. And so Jafari says, I was on a date and realized midway that I did not like the person because he was arrogant, and I insisted on paying for the meal because that was the most he was going to get out of me. There you go. So you got to be able to read between the lines. And Sweetie Ban, I hope I said it right, says if someone offers you something that you yourself didn't pay for, you should think that there might be strings attached to it. Never put yourself in that kind of situation. That is absolutely right. Oh, Jeremy, you know I got to get your question right here. Says, stop being emotional, Demetra. They both knew what it was. He let her know what he was expecting, and she let him know that he was going to smash. So that's the question I asked. Did he tell her that up front that, hey, I want to have sex with you? Now, if he told her that up front and then she got there knowing that, and then she said yes, then I could kind of understand him not wanting to fulfill his end of the bargain. But if he did not tell her that, it's not me being emotional. Trust me, I have the emotions of Michael Myers a lot of times. Okay, to me, it's just being logical, asking questions like, "What was the deal?" You know. So that's all I'm saying, y'all. So anyway, exactly. We got about to get out of here, y'all. We love and appreciate y'all for doing overtime. I see the Pioneer went to make his woman some fried chicken and stuff. And Alex says, my friend.
Yeah, I have something. Go ahead.
He says, my friend went to the prom, and when she didn't give the dude any, he left her at the bus stop. She went home and told her dad, and they drove to his parents' house and got all the money back. That's what you call old school. You will not dishonor my baby. Absolutely. I love it. And so Sunlight says she clearly stated that already. She's not being emotional. You're just not paying attention. You see what I'm saying? Thank you, sis.
Yeah.
So anyway,
but you know what? That's a good comment though. You guys, if you guys get a chance, just put in the video "Girl Flew Out" or whatever, and later on, tell us what you think about the video and what your opinion is of it.
Will do, y'all. So we love and appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for staying overtime, almost 3 hours. Now, who's gonna buy me dinner? That's what I want to know. So anyway, y'all, we will see you guys on Tyler's gonna buy me. Or no, that's not Tyler. That's T'Challa. Gonna buy me dinner. I don't want.
I hope you like Meow Mix.
No. Anyway, we love and appreciate y'all. See y'all later. You guys, we do have ways to donate to the channel if you want to help. But we'll see y'all on Tuesday with Donovan, the podcast, and on Wednesdays with Walter. And then I'll let y'all know the day that my daughter decides she wants to come on live here, and we can have a really good conversation about relationships and things like that, because that helps the younger people as well to do that. So we will see you guys later. Peace.